15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, I think this relationship between Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, they're trying to make it so perfect that it doesn't feel believable. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, EJ Stewart in for Perloff today, who is on vacation on the West Coast and a well-deserved vacation. But EJ, it's like a new relationship. We've all been there. You start dating somebody, you're on your absolute best behavior. They don't see any of your flaws, no farts. There's no raising your voice, there's I get along with everybody, I just love peace and love.
Toilet seat's always down, man.
You're just like tiptoeing around. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You're just trying to present the best version of yourself, and that's why I keep hearing every time Aaron Rodgers sits down or Mike Tomlin sits down and talks about their relationship. And the latest is a question about the preseason. So, Ray, I will take cut 7, please. This is Aaron Rodgers being asked if he's fully on board with playing in the preseason, especially week 1.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation. I think Mike and I will have that at some point. I don't think it's in the plan for me to play this week, but whatever Mike wants to do, I'm fully on board. If he wants me to go out there and play, I'll play. If not, then I won't.
Just employee number 8 over here. That's all. Nothing. I'm not a 4-time MVP. I haven't spent 18 years in the NFL, all that stuff. EJ, to me, it's great in theory.
Yep.
It's great in theory that Aaron Rodgers has all this respect for Mike Tomlin. We all have a lot of respect for Mike Tomlin. But let's not act like Aaron Rodgers doesn't have opinions. And let's not act like those opinions aren't earned. It's easy to dunk on Rodgers right now because he sets himself up in a lot of ways for that and because the last year didn't go well. But he still has all this knowledge, and he should have an opinion about how he wants the preseason to go and what he feels comfortable with.
Yeah, I totally get that. But to me, Maggie, this can't be something in theory. This has to be in practice. Like, whether we want to believe it or not, Aaron Rodgers has no choice but to humble himself. Because we've seen what happens when Aaron Rodgers is calling all the shots. He went to the New York Jets and called all the shots. These are the coaches I want. These are the players I want. This is the practice schedule I want. The one time where it didn't go his way, he threw a fit when he went to Egypt, right? Yeah. So I think when you get to this point, it's crazy saying that, right? But when you get to this point and now you're at 41 years old, you're saying this is going to be your last season, and you're trying to have some modicum of success, which for the Steelers, I think we all both agree, now is kind of Super Bowl or bust.
Yep.
You have to go all in on the Steeler way. So if that means Mike Tomlin says you're playing preseason week 1, then Aaron Rodgers got to be, yes, sir, boss, no problem. You can't say no to anything. This is like being, a new person in the industry where you're like, hey, you got to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And, and jump how high. That's where Aaron Rodgers is at this point. I know he's a guy with a lot of experience and he's accomplished a lot in this league. But if this thing is going to work, which I don't think it will, if it's going to work, this is the only way he can do this, which is buying all in on what Mike Tomlin wants.
Okay, but if I were Rodgers, I would also at some point look at the offense and be like, you guys, you need me. I know that this felt like a marriage of convenience. In a lot of ways it was. Yeah. And Rodgers maybe wanted to go to the Minnesota Vikings even more than he wanted to go to the Steelers. That was earlier a couple months ago. But it's not like he's joining some gangbusters offense. This is not Sean McVay. He's not going to run a Kyle Shanahan offense. This is something where, even with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields last year, it didn't look amazing. So Rodgers could turn it and say, I should have some say. Now, It's not bringing in Nathaniel Hackett. Thank goodness. Somehow he's going to have to watch, Austin Powers with someone else. I'm sure he'll find somebody. But, I do think that even if we don't like Rodgers sometimes with his bedside manner, and even if you think that he's lost his way a little bit, even football-wise, the guy should have a say in how the offense is going to run. And he knows football. I have no doubt he loves football and does actually want the best for everyone, not just himself. Now, this is the other part about the Rodgers-Tomlin bromance, where it's not that I'm not buying it. it's just I have trouble thinking we could go pillar to post on this thing and it's just going to last. And like, this is one of the all-time great quarterback coach relationships ever. You will always revert to what got you to where you are. When the seas get stormy, right? Like, it's all fine to buy in when, you have not encountered any adversity. But when things get rough, I think you'll always go back to what got you here in the first place. Yeah. And I understand why athletes are like that. And so at the first sign of a choppy water, I'd love to see how the relationship gets through that. Yeah. Because, Rodgers every once in a while will sneak this into all the positive things he's saying about the Steelers. Well, I did beat you guys in the Super Bowl. He did say that. He said it on McAfee and almost weirdly turned the crowd that was like very pro Rodgers, like weirdly almost turned him against him. Yeah. I think there is a little part of this of, I knew what this was like in Green Bay. This does remind me of Green Bay in terms of vibes and history and all of that. But don't ever forget, when we went head to head, I got you.
And that's fair. But again, at this point, Maggie, for him, it's about living the words that he says, right? And I'm going to say something that's going to be laughable. But maybe we take Aaron Rodgers at his word. This idea that he's living this life of, open to everything, closed off to nothing. I think at this point in his career, maybe when he's going to the Jets and he's the hero coming in on his white horse to save everything, or he's this Packers legend where he's done all this stuff, maybe from there it's a lot harder for him to, follow orders or not have a say. He's in a totally different space now. He's been kind of embarrassed 2 years in a row. I would argue 3 years in a row. He's in a different landscape in terms of where we view him currently among NFL quarterbacks, among NFL top players. I think for him, maybe we got to take him at his word that he's like, listen, I'm at a different point in my career. I don't have the time or the energy to be fighting with Mike Tomlin or fighting with Arthur Smith. Right. Maybe this is the time for me to say, you know what? I'm here because they believe my skill set can match what they need. And I could argue that it's right, because think about it. They still went to the playoffs with Russell Wilson and George Pickens as their top offensive players. You now upgrade that to Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. I can make an argument that alone should make the Steelers a much better team. Even if Arthur Smith runs the exact same offense, even if the Steelers defense has the exact same issues, you could argue still that just that upgrade alone means the Steelers will have a better record. And maybe this is the time for Aaron Rodgers to buy in. And if he's buying in, I'm all for it.
So you are welcome to weigh in at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Are you buying the bromance is basically what we're getting at. But here, can I tell you, because, we're obviously not in Latrobe. We're here in our beautiful Infinity Sports Network studios. So we have to rely a little bit on some of the beat reporters who are there every day, taking in every snap. This is something from The Athletic about the Pittsburgh Steelers from a day ago. 4 things to look out for with the Steelers offense, and I'm going to paraphrase everything for you. It looks like the offensive line right now not exactly taking the step forward that everyone expected them to, and the run game has been stalled. Now, again, it's training camp stuff. You're working on stuff. The vertical passing game, not quite in sync yet. Rodgers, a couple nice balls to DK Metcalf, but he's also gotten a little got by Joey Porter Jr., and also last year, Rodgers completing 34%. You know this, EJ. Yeah. Very few of his passes with 20-plus air yards. He ranked 23rd in the NFL. The 2 years he was the most 2 recent MVP seasons, it was more like 43%, so a lot higher. And right now, not seeing the deep passes really connecting. They're also saying wide receiver 2. Who is this person?
Oh, yeah.
Who is going to actually step up? Because right now, apparently, Scotty Miller, the 28-year-old 5'9" receiver, has actually been the biggest standout. Again, this is according to The Athletic, whereas Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson have not really separated themselves yet. And apparently the young tackles also really, really not showing out. So this is probably a reason to play the preseason. And I'm going to be honest, I follow this reporter pretty closely, Mike DeFabo, who covers the Steelers. He's not like a negative Nelly. He's not like looking for the negative. This just felt like I got to report what I'm seeing.
Gee, who would have thought that, just showing up for training camp and not having mini camp would it be a factor, right?
right.
Like we all said this, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, what's the big deal? He misses minicamp. Well, you're going to a new team with a bunch of brand new players in a brand new offense that is nothing like the offense you've run.
And the defense is good.
Yeah, and you're playing against a great defense every day in practice. I don't know, Aaron Rodgers. Maybe get your ass into training camp and minicamp and get this thing going so that you don't have all these issues. Now,
Get
listen,
the Malibu.
Yeah.
Getting flashbacks, EJ?
Make sure
I
they
mean,
get
this is
Malibu.
deja vu all over again in many ways, I feel like. But I will say this. It is training camp, and what we're hearing around all NFL teams is essentially seems like all offenses suck. I mean, I know for the Jets, they've been bad. I know for the Bears, it's been bad. The Lions have had issues. Everyone's having issues offensively, and that seems to be where things are right now in the NFL, that you get to training camp and immediately the defense wins. We saw it in Hard Knocks with the Bills, where Thurman Thomas saying immediately, well, defense won this one.
Defense 1, offense 0. And don't forget, when you're betting the NFL, if you're into that kind of thing, week 1, week 2, usually the unders. Anyway,
yeah, exactly. And that's a team that has Josh Allen, the reigning MVP. That's a team that has a great offense. So I don't want to go too crazy. I did see that he connected with Roman Wilson a couple times yesterday. So I think that's the guy that's going to have to be the number 2 option for them. But again, I just think that some of this stuff is you can't cry over spilled milk. He didn't get there for minicamp for reasons that he felt were justified. And now this is what they're going to have to deal with, which is why, again, he needs to go more full tilt into buying in. Because if he comes in and you haven't, been in minicamp, you haven't really, been with the team for all that long, and you come in and they have a full plan of what they want to do, and he says, actually, you know what? We're changing this offense. We're changing these audibles. We're doing this and that. Well, now everyone that's been working and trying to get ready for the season, they're all like, well, wait a minute. Now we're on Aaron Rodgers' time. So if this is going to work, it's going to have to be with him working within this system. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, the Steelers have been in a weird situation with not being able to win a playoff game the last however many years. But it's not like this is a trash organization. So my thing is just buy all into what you got, and let's see what happens when week 1 kicks off.
Yeah, the only problem is it is Arthur Smith's offense. So you're buying in. What are you buying into? You're buying into something that at times has not looked creative. This is not Ben Johnson. This is not, someone who's being touted as this amazing offensive coordinator. Lots of teams did want him. Your Jets wanted him.
Yeah.
Other teams have wanted him. But, as a fan watching and, doing this for a living, never really inspired by these Arthur Smith offenses.
But to be fair, Arthur Smith, the last time he was an OC before he went to Pittsburgh was in Tennessee. And not only did they have a lot of regular season success, they also had some playoff success.
Yeah,
they
went to Baltimore to win.
They went to the AFC title game. Like it's not like he's had zero success as an offensive coordinator. It's not the sexiest offense. It's not an offense I'd want to see every Sunday. So get ready, Pittsburgh. Like this is what you got. But I do feel like for him, head coach terrible, and last year wasn't necessarily the most inspired year. But again, the upgrade of Rodgers and the upgrade of DK Metcalf gives me hope that even within an Arthur Smith offense, you could see some success that they weren't able to have with Russell Wilson running around out there with basically one hamstring.
Yeah, you just need Jalen Warren to be Derrick Henry. That's all. Can he do that? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. The Rodgers, Mike Tomlin bromance. Maybe the fact that, Rodgers has said it's basically going to be 1 year. Although if they play well and they win playoff games and say they go to the AFC title game or whatever, I think he would come back. But let's just say it is like 1 year. Maybe you can stay on your best behavior when there's an end date.
Yeah.
It's like, we're just, like, to use that couples analogy, it's like, we're just having some fling, in Bermuda or whatever, Barbados. So hold it together.
Yeah, it's like when we marry like the fourth wife and you're just like, I've been through this enough. Like, we're just out here having fun. That
finally you can have fun with the fourth wife. 1, 2, and 3 was a nightmare.
I've heard that.
4 is great, though. I'm sure she's dynamite. She's also probably a fetus. 888-710-4ISN.
J-Lo would disagree.
Kidding. 888-710-4476. Get it going with the little Steelers. Your expectations for them this year with Aaron Rodgers. I'm kind of blanket. If you're 41 years old, you should not play the preseason. But I understand it's different circumstances because he's joining a new team. So we'll see what's up with that. Coming up, somebody hasn't been practicing for the last 4 practices. Nobody is talking about this in the national media. I don't know why. No one knows if this player is hurt. No one knows if they're holding in, even though they just got paid 2 years ago. And oh, by the way, they could be the linchpin for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. Why is this story going so under the radar? We will tackle that next. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show. EJ's in for Perloff today.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What's going on with Nick Bosa? Why aren't more people talking about this? Nick Bosa, who has an injury history and also has a history of holding in for contracts, EJ, has now missed 4 practices for the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm just wondering, because Kyle Shanahan's being very cagey about this. He's asked if he's dealing with an injury. He's saying no. And then he keeps saying, well, we expect him out here tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes and he's out there. He's like in one of those sweatsuits and he's, kind of doing stuff, but he's not participating in like full team practice and drills. And then that happened again. And then you get like a day off and then you get a second day off and then back to practice. Still no Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
So anyway, count him up. 4 practices in a row that he has now basically missed. Again, he's there, but not participating. And we'll see today. It's the 49ers with the Denver Broncos having a joint practice. So we'll see if he's out there. But if it's injury, oh my gosh. I mean, as if the 49ers haven't had enough issues with their injuries. So you'd have to hope this isn't a bad omen or a bad sign. And then 2, if he's holding in for another contract when he just got paid in the offseason right before the 2023 season, EJ, then you got to wonder, when are the 49ers going to go through an offseason when one of their stars isn't asking for boatloads of money?
Yeah, in some ways, the 49ers feel a little bit like the Cowboys, where it seems like every offseason there's some issue potentially with some contract or somebody being upset. We had Tebow a couple years ago. We had, of course, Ayuk last season. We had Bosa 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
You can kind of mix in Purdy a little bit, though. They got that done kind of quickly. So there's always something going on with the 49ers. That is a little weird because we look at a team that I think most people respect as one of the top-end organizations that can't seem to figure this thing out. And we've seen it impact sometimes the regular season, too. So This is definitely something to be concerned about. I would assume he's holding in. To me, if Kyle Shanahan, they have been cagey with injuries a little bit. But before last year, remember when Christian McCaffrey was hurt, we had no idea he was hurt. Then he just showed up and he wasn't practicing. They said, what's going on? I said, oh, he has Achilles issues. We're like, what?
Yeah.
How did you hold this away from us since minicamp, apparently, was the issues. So I feel like if he was hurt, we would know. They would say, at this point, they would say what's going on. If he's holding in, good luck trying to figure out how that's going to work. Because remember, Micah Parsons is already holding in too. So I assume with Nick Bosa, he's like, whatever Parsons get, just give me more than him. Which means, and like, if they're waiting
But that might not happen
right.
until like the Cowboys are about to kick off Thursday night against Philadelphia week 1.
Right. And I think that's probably kind of what the 49ers are saying probably. They're like, listen, like, it doesn't make sense if you're giving us an outrageous number that may blow Micah Parsons out of the water. Why would we sign on to this without knowing what Parsons is going to get? That's a dangerous game to play because with the Cowboys, that contract could be announced literally as kickoff is starting, right? So we're talking about Bosa sitting out multiple weeks before the season and not getting ready to go. We know what happens with these injuries, a pulled hammy, a pulled this, a pulled that, and now Bosa's out a couple of weeks. This is a guy who's an injury-prone player at times. That's a death knell for the Niners. He may be, outside of Christian McCaffrey, the most important player on the Niners that's a non-QB.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. This is the other thing, too. I think this is what we've all done with the 49ers. I'd be curious, because we're on in 49ers country, what you guys think at 888-710-4ISN. But here's where I think we look at the 49ers schedule, and we're like, red carpet right to the playoffs, you know? And that doesn't take into account that you got a whole season to play. And this is a very talented roster. It is talented. They're still out there. But, we talk about, they had to get younger, and they changed a lot of things out. They still are relying on some veteran dudes.
Definitely.
Kittle is still there. McCaffrey is still there. Obviously, Trent Williams is still there. Now you look on the defensive side. Bosa, I'm not saying these guys are old. I'm just calling them veterans. Bosa, Warner. We understand that they have some serious talent. But these guys have been around. You still have to play the season. And this is now Nick Bosa is now the seventh highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Here is who he's behind. TJ Watt, Jamar Chase, Myles Garrett, Danielle Hunter, Max Crosby, and Justin Jefferson. And I can see a world where Nick Bosa says, I'm better than all of them.
Yeah, and I can see a world also where he's like, all of those guys got re-upped recently. I guess Jefferson's the only guy that re-upped in the same year that he re-upped. So all of those guys were due, and then they got paid. So he's probably looking at this and saying, well, those guys just got taken care of, so I'm next up. Like, it's just how this thing goes, right? Like, whatever's going to happen with Mike Parsons is going to happen, but regardless, I'm the next guy that needs to get paid. So from his standpoint, I certainly get it from the Niners standpoint. You're probably like, when are we going to get out of this hell?
We can't catch a break.
This hellhole of just having to pay the top dollar for whoever the top player is that we have coming up.
By the way, not to interrupt you,
Yeah.
you don't even have to be the top player. Juwan Jennings, remember when he requested a trade? That's still out there. So Bosa's making $34 million a year. And just to let you know, TJ Watt just signed that extension. He's making 41. I mean, it's not an insignificant, it's a pretty big gap there. However, like, I don't know. Like, also, I'm not saying don't get yours. I'm not surprised this is happening for Bosa, but also read the room. I mean, 2 years ago, you lost in overtime in the Super Bowl. Next year, you couldn't have a more disaster season. You know, from on the field, off the field, everything went wrong. You won 6 games last year. You're trying to get back into this thing. You've got this, by this thing, I mean being a Super Bowl contender and winning the Super Bowl. You've got this incredibly, cupcake schedule, at least on paper. Like, is now the time, Nick?
I will say this,
Come
though.
on.
If I'm the Niners, I do think now is the time to hold your ground because they have a contract. There's an out in this contract, potential out in 2027. So that means this year and next year. This year, you're trying to go all in. You just paid your quarterback. I think they're in a position where they kind of went half in, half out. They went with a half measure. They didn't go complete rebuild. They also didn't just go, okay, we're just going to keep all the old guys, right? They kind of did a middle game. I think this is them kind of deciding what is our lane this season. If we do really well this year, okay, now we will spend a little more money to see if we can get over the top. If this thing goes south with a bad schedule, maybe this is the time to say next year, okay, listen, we got to out after this season. Maybe this is when you start shopping a guy like Nick Bosa because you will get a king's ransom for a player like that. I think if I'm the 49ers, I did not like a lot of their contract disputes. I think most of them have been really dumb, and they could have gotten out. Like, the IU thing was ridiculous. I thought the Tebow thing was ridiculous. Like, those are contracts I didn't think had to go into training camp the way they did. I think this is the one where I say, no, dude, you got 2 years left being paid as a top 7 non-QB, and there's a potential out, and you're going to be 29 years old by the time that next deal comes up. I want to see what you look like in the next 2 years, or at least next year. And then if this year works out great, here's a boatload of money and we'll give it to you. But if this thing looks sideways, I don't know. Just like we talked about with the Browns, like if it makes sense to be paying a 30-year-old pass rusher when your team is far away. If the Niners are farther away than we think, it wouldn't make sense for them to just hand Nick Bosa a bunch of money going into his 30s.
Yeah, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I just can't believe that this is even on the table, Because, by the way, like, both options are not awesome. If he's hurt, that stinks.
Yeah.
And then if he's holding in, well, how far does he want to take this thing? Because you mentioned you would call their bluff if you were the 49ers. You would call his bluff. But I'm telling you, man, the Bosas, their dad is definitely in their ear, which I understand. Sure. And he had, a career that was kind of cut short.
Yeah.
And I think that they look at him and say, you got to be about yourself. And that's not even a criticism necessarily. Yeah. I'm serious. You do. But at some point,
it could be a little bit like
Michael, contract.
It could be a little bit of a Michael Parsons situation where it's like I don't know if this is the one to mess with. Like Jerry Jones, messed around and found out with Michael Parsons. You could play the same games and it didn't work. Nick Bosa certainly has some of that energy too. At the same time, this is not unfamiliar territory to them. Like Jerry didn't know, he should have known, but he had no idea what was going to happen in playing this game with Michael Parsons. The Niners have already played this game with Nick Bosa.
And it went down to the wire.
Yeah, it went down to the wire, but they know all of the moves. They know all the tells. So I think this is probably part of the strategy, right, is for them to say, okay, it's a hold-in, but let's not make this more public than it has to be. And there's so many other crazy NFL headlines right now that we can actually fly under the radar with this. And no one really cares except for the people in the Bay Area, and we know that they're locked in. But we're okay
let
right
Micah
now.
Parsons and let Jerry take all the oxygen.
Let Trey Hendrickson, let the Bengals situation, let all that stuff do its own thing. And let's see if that deal's not done. Is he really not going to suit up week 1? And what does that look like?
I'm telling you, I'm really interested to see if he participates today in this joint practice against the Broncos. Yeah, Ray.
And the players these days, they're so concerned with maximizing their earning potential that they'll blow up any situation if they see a player at their position get paid. And in Bosa's case, he had 2 guys, in his opinion, might not be better than him, cash out in a high level. He's like, wait a minute, where's my money? I don't care about 2023. Right now, I need my money again. And I think that's what we're seeing.
It's funny because I don't consider Nick Bosa to be a bad teammate or anything like that. But I agree with Ray. I think he will stand his ground. I don't know what that's going to look like. Missing games, I have no idea.
But you know what's tough?
We have to find out, first of all, if this is actually what's happening. Is he holding in? Is he hurt?
And again,
reckless speculation. We love it.
And the hurt thing might be worse, right? Because this is a guy who's coming off a season where he battled injuries. Like, we talked about a lot about what went wrong for the Niners season. And there is like, pick an answer and tell me what you want to say, right? Special teams, all these other things. One of the things that also was that Nick Bosa wasn't 100% healthy, and he's coming off a little bit of a down year, which is another reason why if he comes to my office and asks for money, I'm like, get out of here. Like, you're coming off a down year. You were injured last season, and you have a potential out at 2027, so that's 2 years of us trying to figure out what's going on. We'll give you the year. Come back this year, dominate, and then we'll give you your money. But coming in now, it's almost like that maybe the end of your prime is here, and now you're saying, give me my money before other issues come up with injuries.
888-710-4ISN, level of, agita in San Francisco, a little discomfort from the fans. Peter Schwartz is here giving us all the latest today. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Maggie. We are sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Protect small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Let's start with some baseball. We'll lead off in Arizona, where the Padres and Diamondbacks were tied at 2 in the ninth.
Back has come set. Kicks in the pitch. Swing line drive, right field, base hit. Xander Bogaerts trots in from third. Padres in front, 3-2. A go-ahead RBI single for Jose Iglesias.
OMG, that was Jesse Agler on Padres radio, and the Padres beat the Diamondbacks 3-2. Did I offend any Met fans there?
Yeah, you did.
I did?
Yes, you did. I didn't like that.
You didn't like it?
Didn't like it at all.
Highly offended.
Really?
Still a great song.
It is a great song. It's a banger.
Yeah, if you guys don't remember, he also had the song Oh My God, which is fantastic. My kid loves it. But I'm a little worried that he's going to become a one-hit wonder.
Oh,
we need a follow-up.
I'd use his hit right now, considering what the Mets are doing.
Yeah, that's,
I know, yeah. Music and at the plate, everything. I will say this. I think for athletes, the bar is way lower when it comes to like music. I think if you're a one-hit wonder, it's fine. Like, I don't think for an athlete we're like, hey, why didn't Shaq have more hits, right? Or any
Shaq went platinum.
Yeah, I know, right? We've talked about that. Like, but to me, it's like, you know what? The fact that he even did it is fine. Like, Damian Lillard, I don't know if he even has a hit. The fact that he can do decent quality music is fine enough. So for him, having one hit, I think is okay for him.
But think about it. Nothing has hit the mainstream that Damian Lillard has done like OMG. Like, OMG was being played on the radio.
Yeah, I think the only one must be the money. Dion Must Be the Money was definitely played.
Dion hosted Saturday Night Live and was the musical guest and the host.
Yeah, and like the music video was lit. Like that's probably the last one. So you're right.
But that's how good of a career you have to have athletically for us not to be like, hey, you are a one-hit wonder. Look at you, men without hats or whatever. We did a one-hit wonder bracket.
We did,
Who won that? We did a bracket of all the greatest one-hit wonders. I don't remember who won.
Yeah.
Kaplan must have it somewhere.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't Who Let the Dogs Out, because you would have quit the show.
No, I hate that song.
Maggie hates that show. Hates that song more than anything. Which I don't. I guess you tied to the 2000 Mets, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was too young. I don't relate it to that.
Well, it's also just a horrible song. But I also think the Baha Men may have had another hit. Did we do them wrong on that one? They might have had something.
I wasn't aware they had another song.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think there might have been a world where they had another song. Anyway, we'll find out what won our one-hit wonder bracket. Was it My Sharona or something? I can't remember.
That was the Knack.
I gotta look that up. We'll look that up in the break because I'm actually now curious. We remember.
This is usually the question I ask you.
I know, yeah. You now feel weird being in this chair. I will say this. We were talking about the sitcom bracket and we were figuring out where happened with Office and Simpsons.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah, so those bracket results we got to keep we gotta have like maybe a banner or something we hang up
for winners.
Yeah, like some championship banners. So for if you win the sitcom bracket, you get a banner. If you win one of these things, you win a banner.
Who won the sitcom bracket? Seinfeld.
If Seinfeld didn't win, there's a problem.
I think it might have been Seinfeld.
I mean, this is such a good song. He's got to have a second song.
You would think maybe if he's inspired, if the Padres go on a run here, maybe he can get some inspiration.
Quit baseball. Get back in the studio.
Listen, I think the Mets wanted him to quit baseball, and that's why. That's why he with the Padres. They're like, listen,
forced
man,
him to quit baseball.
Yeah, you're done, and another team still picked him up.
Well, he might get the last laugh here.
Yeah, he kind of did quit. Like he basically was like on his last end before the Mets picked him up.
Delta's saying, what's the point of these brackets if we don't remember who won? Because it's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
Definitely.
It's about the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, March Madness isn't about necessarily who wins the title. It's about, oh my God, the upsets. Look at what happened in these crazy games, the buzzer beaters. There are many years where we remember the upsets more than the champion. That's a fact.
Tell that to Dan Hurley.
Well, he's a psycho.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I'm number one on that bandwagon.
Listen, for Dan Hurley, it matters who wins. I'm talking about for us, the lamest fans. Like, unless you're rooting for one of these teams, for us, it's just like, oh, I want to just take off work and see who gets upset this weekend.
So if Gonzaga ever wins the national championship and we have a crazy buzzer beater that in the Sweet 16, and that's what we remember, you're not going to be upset about that?
No, I'll still have a title.
Sure.
I'm good.
Everyone knows it's about Middle Tennessee State, Manny, and what they can do.
Blue Raiders, come on now.
Who won when Al Farouk, what is it? Farouk Manesh?
Are you okay, EJ?
Farouk
Manesh.
Did you just have a stroke?
I know, I did, right?
You just combined Al Farouk Aminu.
I was going to say Al Farouk Aminu. That's why I was like, oh, God, that's wrong. Ali Farouk Manesh, when he hit that shot, I don't know who won the title that year. I'll never forget that shot.
Radio equivalent of someone just pulling a sharp U-turn in the middle of abort. Anyway, back to you, Peter.
It was a good news, bad news day for the Red Sox yesterday. The bad news first, their 7-game winning streak is over. They lost to the Royals 7-3. What?
Thank God.
Well, yeah. Well, you always like to see the Red Sox lose, but they did get some good news yesterday. They signed outfielder Roman Anthony to an 8-year extension, reportedly worth $130 million. He's excited to have the deal wrapped up.
It's truly just a special place to play and a special place to show up every single day. So I couldn't be more excited for this and couldn't be more thankful for everyone in this room and everyone who's helped me get here today.
Now, there's significant escalators in the deal that can be maxed out at $230 million. Kind of incredible in the middle of his rookie season to get a deal like this locked up.
I think it's weird to say they got a steal. I mean, if you really think he's going to be this good, to get him locked up, this is what the Braves always do. This is why they have really team-friendly, there's no salary cap, but you know what I'm saying? They have team-friendly contracts, with Acuna and with Albies. This is smart.
And they don't have to talk about the risk of him becoming a free agent somewhere down the road. They got him all locked up for 8 more years. So.
And I'll say this, too. I don't think there's, besides if you're a team that's not a champion or a team that's you're looking at being a champion, I don't think there's anything more exciting than a homegrown superstar prospect coming up and looking like he's the goods.
Yeah, the next guy.
To me, there's nothing that infuses a level of enthusiasm in a fan base than being like, wow, we got the next one.
Like Mark Vientos.
Something like that. Yeah. But I mean, if you're the Nationals, if you're a Bryce Harper or the Padres when Tatis came up, the energy that I think comes within a fan base and a franchise when that happens is huge. So now that we're seeing these deals come up, it's almost like a double end now. Because now for these teams, unless you're the Pirates, it's not wait till he's a Yankee. Now it's like, not only do we have this guy that looks so great early on, now we know for a fact we have no contract issues for a long time. That's got to be really exciting.
I've got some advice from Roman Anthony. Read up on what Rafael Devers did and follow his exact steps. Thank you very much.
Well, that'd be winning a title, so I don't know if you like that.
Saboteur.
Except for that one.
Wednesday was a big day for ESPN. First, they acquired the NFL Network and other NFL media assets, including linear rights to Red Zone and the NFL's fantasy product. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell on the deal.
I think this is just going to make the experience for our fans even better as we evolve this relationship. And it's something when we see the innovation that ESPN always has and how we've grown together over the years and decades, this is really exciting for our fans.
ESPN didn't stop with the NFL yesterday. They also acquired the United States streaming rights for WWE Premium Live events starting in 2026. Undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes is all pumped up.
Well, I'm incredibly excited. I know I can probably speak on behalf of the locker room in saying that this is huge for what we're doing. And all of us who are on the team, whether it's a Rhea Ripley, a CM Punk, myself, John Cena, everyone, this is the direction to be able to grow WWE and just put it every possible place it could go. So we're all very excited.
Rhodes on ESPN yesterday.
It is very nice of you to do the PR for all these companies. I love when they say, this is so great for our fans. This is Roger says this all the time. Roger Goodell says this all the time. This is so great for our fans. We're putting all these games in Spain, in Germany, in London, in Australia, on the moon, in Mongolia. Yeah. It's all because of you guys. This is all for you. Us going to ESPN this is great for the fans. What? Why? How?
Yeah, football.
You know, well,
I don't get it.
Like putting playoff games on Peacock, that was good for the fans. We all had to buy some kind of other streaming service just to get the NFL. It's not. Like, he says this, it's good for them.
Yep.
Now, the NFL now owns 10% of ESPN.
I mean,
it's amazing.
The only good news I feel like I heard from any of these announcements was that Red Zone may be expanded to other sports.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
That sounds
If they
really
do it right,
cool,
that'll be fun.
Because to me, like, I feel like college football has badly needed that. Like, you know, there's so many more teams. There's so many games going on. And, you know, we think NFL games are crazy. College football games, you see the wackiest things
you want
happen.
a witching hour.
Yeah,
Go to college football.
You definitely want
that
a witching hour.
That would be the ultimate witching hour.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
I mean, you definitely want a witching hour for college football.
But it's multiple windows, though. It feels like the games are way more staggered in college football because there's just so many more games. So it's not like we're 1 o'clock, you're 4 o'clock, and then the night game, like on a Sunday, it would just be constant witching hour because I feel like you have games ending at all different times. But
and now we go to Hawaii for the witching hour.
It's 4 a.m. That's it.
But
right
it's ESPN. They'll just make it the SEC witching hour or the Big Ten witching hour. You know they're going to commercialize that.
Well, I mean, but isn't like if it's an amazing play, it's an amazing play, right? They can't.
Right,
if it's Old Dominion, you still got to go to the crazy play. I would think. I don't know why that came to my head, but college football would be great.
Flight to the Monarchs.
You know, the NBA already does a version of this on NBA TV. They call it the whip around.
Yeah.
They do it. It's not the same, but
Well, nothing's red zone.
No.
I don't think there's a great awareness about it though. Like I don't even think a lot of like basketball fans know that happens.
Do they know that there's an NBA TV?
I mean, honestly, no, Manny's not wrong with the way Turner Sports is running NBA TV. It's like they might as well not have it, which I know they won't now.
It's like a speakeasy.
It's crazy.
It is weird. It's like they're hiding it. It is
They don't
odd.
do anything on there. They don't promote it. Like, it's very bizarre.
Did they have Charles Barkley doing post-game playoff commentary on
for the
NBA
finals,
TV?
yes.
And it's like a tree falling in the woods. I'm like, you have the number one television commentator maybe of all time up there with John Madden. Like, we're talking Mount Rushmore type stuff. No one knows.
They essentially
The NHL
moved inside the NBA to NBA TV, and no one knows they're in the finals.
The NHL does it one night a year. They stagger. Every team is playing.
Oh,
they
yes.
stagger the starts every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And they cover all the games one night. They only do it one night.
Yeah, I mean, I like the red zone for college football.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. If for ESPN, this would be the advice I'll give them that they don't need. But keep it the thing that we all like, at least to start. You know, don't put commercials in it. Don't, give us a personality that's going to make it not about them, but about the product in a way that Scott Hansen does on Red Zone or Andrew Siciliano did on Red Zone. Like, you got to keep the formula. You can't just get in there and, make it Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins,
You're 100% right.
ESPN's losing baseball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not going to be some type of baseball type of coverage. That kind of stinks.
So they do a whip around, too. Yeah.
I thought they went back to the table to talk.
Yeah, they
The
have.
two sides.
Oh, are they? All right. Maybe. Rob Manfred, what did he say? Like, he did some kind of shots fired at them. But, Peter, that's where we're going to have to leave it. Yeah, it was a very big day for ESPN announcing the NFL stuff, the WWE stuff, and it was a little confusing. Like, am I going to have to pay more now to watch WrestleMania and SummerSlam and Royal Rumble? If you're into that kind of thing, it turns out no. If you already have ESPN, you're going to have it.
Yeah, if you have cable and you have ESPN on your cable package, you're good. I was like, I'm losing.
For now.
Yeah, for now, right? I was like, I'm losing $30. I don't know how this is going to work, but I had to postpone the crash out.
888
Call off the wedding.
4ISN. Yeah. The way at the rates you're paying for a wedding, Scott Hansen should marry EJ and Andrea.
Listen, Andrea would have canceled the wedding if I canceled Peacock. Trust me.
she can't watch
Bravo.
Gotta watch Bravo.
If Andy Cohen can't be on your TV 24 hours a day, it's over. Coming up, lots more to do, including an interesting list that we saw that got our blood boiling a little bit. See if it does the same for you. It's Maggie Perloff Show. EJ's in for Pro.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Chair today and doing all the dirty work. We want to know who actually won our one-hit wonder bracket as EJ's filling in for Perloff today. It was Aha. There we go. This portion of the show is sponsored by the Hyundai Getaway sales event going on now. Get deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Don't miss out. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. Yeah.
I am going to take Cap. I'm not going to give Kaplan any credit. He did not message us directly or anything like that. I am taking full credit for it.
Okay,
I
Andrew
definitely won't
Kaplan,
check Slack then.
The man behind the curtain. who does everything. All right, Cap gets the full credit, but thank you for finding that. We do all these fun brackets, but sometimes we don't remember who wins any of them. So one-hit wonders, take on me. Speaking of one-hit wonders, transition. Sports Illustrated put out the top 25 college quarterbacks of the last 25 years, EJ. Yep. And their number one on the list is a one-hit wonder, kind of, Joe Burrow, who put together one of the great college seasons of all time. Now, we know Joe had, played a little bit the season before, but so it's kind of a little bit of a runway into this all-time season. But this one stood head and shoulders above all the rest of the last 25 years. Second on the list is Cam Newton, another guy who is considered a college football one-hit wonder. We started at Florida and then went to junior college and then went to Auburn and won the national title and the Heisman. Are you okay with the greatest college quarterback of the last 25 years being somebody who is essentially a one-hit wonder?
Absolutely not. And it's not a diss at all to Joe Burrow, who I thought put together the greatest college football season any player has had. And it's not just to Cam Newton, who maybe had one of the most, one-man show runs to a title that we've ever seen in college football.
Yeah.
But it is 1 year. And if you're talking about the greatest college quarterbacks of an entire generation, then you have to take their entire career into play. So when I look at, I'm a Miami fan, so it pains me to say it, but when I look at Tim Tebow, who has 3 years as a starter, multiple Heisman Trophy top 5 finishes, and a Heisman Trophy and national championships, how is he not number one, number two? I look at Vince Young, who had a great senior year or junior year, his last year at Texas, but the year before helped them win the Rose Bowl the year before, right? Like, these are guys who had multiple years where they led their teams to great success and had big seasons who were ignored. And then I'm not saying this guy should be number one, but this is a list of top 25, and Deshaun Watson is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And let me be clear, I am not a Deshaun Watson guy at all in terms of off the field. But we're talking about his college career, a guy who had 2 top 3 Heisman finishes, had 2 outstanding national championship performances, one in which he beat Alabama at a time when Alabama seemed as unbeatable as they were during the Nick Saban era. The fact that he's not on a top 25 list at all is baffling to me. There are plenty of guys on there who did not win championships, guys who did not win Heisman trophies. That was stunning. So I think some of this stuff in terms of what they've weighed, it seemed like they weighed more of the one-year wonder, the guy who had this big, spectacular one season, but then that was it. Even Matt Leinart, who came in at 5, which I respected, that's a guy, again, had 3 years of dominant play. Like, I think you have to rank that a little higher than some of the guys that had one great year.
Okay, so these guys are high. Joe Burrow is one of college quarterbacks of the last 25 years, according to Sports Illustrated. Cam Newton is 2. But then Vince Young is 3. Tim Tebow is 4. And then you said Leinart is 5. It goes Lamar Jackson 6 and on from there. I don't mind if you're going to say greatest college quarterback the last 25 years and it's based off of one season. Because to me, every college football season is so different. Especially now when you're transferring all the time and the portal's open basically at all times. The college teams, unless you make a real point, like Michigan 2 years ago or Ohio State last year, for guys to all come back, it does feel like there is just a lot of changeover.
I'm pretty high.
And even though guys have to stay for 3 years, to me, I think you can look at individual seasons and kind of put them up against anything. Because I also don't expect, like, the dynasties in college football, outside of Nick Saban, who had this incredible run, like, it is just so hard. So
I get that, Maggie, but when we're talking about the last 25 years, the majority of that time was still at a time where dynasties existed and college quarterbacks played at one school for more than 4 years. Like, there are plenty of guys, and I think they did a good job kind of listing, like, where these team guys played. A lot of these guys were transfers. But a lot of these players are guys who were on their one school for many, many years. Like, Cam Newton and Joe Burrow in many ways were kind of outliers. So I think to celebrate the generation, I don't think you could look at where college football is today and where it's going. I do think you have to look back at where college football was. And for Matt Leinart to have, basically college football in the chokehold, and for Vince Young to have college football in the chokehold, and Tim Tebow especially, you don't want to talk about having college football in the chokehold just from a cultural aspect and a dominant player on the field. I think that has to weigh a lot more than the guy who just did it for one season.
Who is the greatest college quarterback of the last 25 years? 888-710-4ISN. Very interesting. Coming up, we got some news for you. Count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active quarterbacks practicing for the Cleveland Browns yesterday. That actually happened.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Maggie Perloff. Countdown begins at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rose, he's live on the line to show every thought, every sports headline. From sunrise takes to the YouTube flow, he's pumping that beat from Infinity Show. Eyes wide open, countdown sound that sends hits deep like a goal line pound. He don't just watch, he feels the track. When M&P speak, he's got their back. Back in the day on the dormant floor, Daddy said, Don, you're a techno warlord. But truth be told, that dream went bust. His roommates Vikings turned brains to dust. Dolphin and Darren, they run it wild. Dolph's playbook, mostly mild. But now he reigns, no controller needed. On Infinity's beats, he's finally undefeated. Counting down with the techno flow. Sports Tish with the studio glow. From techno shame to YouTube fame, now every countdown calls his name. Vikings crush me, daily believed me, but now I'm here. rising, volume maxed. Countdown king, there's no looking back. Donald Rose, riding high on the MVP feed. Donald Rose, living that sports fan fantasy. Let the techno ride and the hot take spin. Rose always.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You happen to be taking in the Browns-Panthers joint practice yesterday, you would have found 6 Browns quarterbacks on the field at some point yesterday. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray. EJ Stewart in for Perloff today, who's on vacation. And EJ, Deshaun Watson was out there at practice, so that's one. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and also Tyler Huntley. Everyone was there yesterday. It's like crazy how crowded this thing has become. But, you know, we all know that Shedeur Sanders is going to be starting the preseason game tomorrow. We're not sure how long he's going to have. He could play a significant part of the game because even though Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel are practicing, and Joe Flacco, but Gabriel and Pickett are practicing, but they are limited because of their hamstring issues. Joe Flacco's not playing in the preseason game because he's 40, so why would he play in this game? So
DNP old. Yeah,
right. So now it's Shedeur and then Snoop Huntley, who got there 3 days ago, and so they're going to be getting a lot of the reps. Now, what's weird is that Shedeur didn't get any first-team reps yesterday in this joint practice. And so we've talked about how I don't think the Browns ever wanted Shedeur to be seeing the field this quickly. You can just tell by how they run practices. He does not get first-team reps with the 11-on-11 drills or the 7-on-7 drills. It's just not happening. So he's getting this because it's just he has to start the game. It's not because he's getting a promotion. Now, what he does with it will be interesting, but if you're not going to give him any reps with the first team when you're in theory prepping him to start the first preseason game, I think the Browns are completely not serious about getting Shedeur any meaningful reps, and in some ways, I think they're setting him up to fail.
And I can see why you would think that. Now, to be fair, Kevin Stefanski said basically none of the stars are going to play in this game. So if you're not going to play any of the stars in the game, and Shedeur essentially has not played with any of the starters, maybe it makes sense to actually have him still play with the guys he's been playing with, which are 2s and 3s. These are the guys that are essentially going to start in this game. Now the Panthers are going to play their one, so I guess good luck with that. It's the Panthers. It's not like you're playing against the Eagles, right? But still, it's the ones for an NFL team, so that may be a little concerning. But I'll be honest, I don't know. Maybe it's a weird feeling I get. I think Shedeur is going to play really well. I think when you see what we are hearing from Browns camp, which is the little we get to see of him, he is very accurate. He's quick with the release. His ball placement has been solid. We've heard a lot of negative things about the other guys, right? We haven't heard a lot of negative things about Shedeur Sanders. We've heard of issues with Dylan Gabriel. We've heard that Kenny Pickett really hasn't distinguished himself. And Flacco, it's almost like he can't get on the field because they don't want to have the break at any moment in this heat and in this humidity. So Shedeur has gotten his opportunities, and he hasn't embarrassed himself yet. I think he goes out there on Friday, and I think he puts on a mini show. Maybe not a whole show, but a mini show. And I think this creates a massive conundrum for the Browns and the organization about what happens next. Because if he goes out there and plays good, I don't think he has to even play great. If he plays good, there's going to be a large contingent of Browns fans that are going to be like, give this guy an opportunity. And the Browns are not some strong organization that can stand on their laurels and say, you know what, no, we're the Browns, and we know what we're doing. That's something they literally have there's no chance they can say that. And I think that he's going to have an opportunity at that point because those other guys are going to play eventually. We're going to have to see Kenny Pickett play. We've seen that before. We've heard what we're hearing about Dylan Gabriel, and the guy's 5'11".
2 gloves.
And then we got Joe Flacco, who's played well for the Browns, but is older, right? So he's going to get his opportunity, and I think it's going to begin in part because I think he's going to play really well in this preseason game.
Okay. I think the opposite is going to happen. If he does play well, I'm not ruling that out. We saw him play in college. I still don't know why he slipped to the 5th round. If you want to, that's still the mystery of our time, I guess. But I think the better he plays, the more he gets buried. And I think that Joe Flacco is out here probably saying to the team, and to be fair, Mary Kay Cabot kind of wrote this for Cleveland.com, what are we doing? How is this even a competition anymore? How are we even doing the facade of a competition? He's not coming to take the QB1 job, Shedeur. Dylan Gabriel's not taking the QB1 job either. And Kenny Pickett is not ready to suit up in a game. What are we doing? Just give Joe Flacco all of the first team reps. He's already getting 80% of them anyway, but let's not, start divvying up the pie for a quarterback competition that is a sham. It's not real. And if it was real, they actually would be giving Shedeur, I think, a real opportunity with the ones. I think they're telling you Kevin Stefanski is running his practices as if, there is like a pseudo competition going on. And I think they're keeping it up when Flacco's going to get this job. And I think Flacco would say, why are you tying a hand behind my back with not giving me all the first team reps when we all know how this movie's going to end? It's going to end with me being QB1 for as long as I'm staying healthy and as long as we're still in the hunt.
I feel like that feels like a very Flacco-colored glasses view at the situation. Because, yes, you have Kenny Pickett dealing with the hamstring. And, yes, you have Dylan Gabriel, who has a hamstring and also hasn't looked that great. It is still August 7th.
Yeah.
And the Browns don't play week 1 until September 7th. Hamstrings can be tricky, but I think in a month, can Kenny Pickett be ready to go for week 1? Absolutely. He may not have the most practice time. He may not be fully ready to go in terms of knowing the entire playbook and everything and everyone being on their P's and Q's. But could he be serviceable enough to be able to get ready out there for week 1? That's absolutely the case. And I will agree with one thing. I do think this is a bit of a sham in terms of a QB competition, but it's a sham for Kenny Pickett to win the job. That's what they want. It's very clear with the way Kevin Stefanski talks about Kenny Pickett. I mean, he got hurt, and he basically was like, "Oh, guys, don't worry. Hey, Kenny Pickett's still in this. Hey, we're going back to tape back in March, in April, to decide who's going to win this job. We're going back to when Kenny Pickett was doing stuff in underwear for us in terms of who's going to win this job, which makes no sense. So why would that matter in this competition? It's because they want Kenny Pickett to win this job. So I think for Flacco, it's very convenient if that is what he's saying, that, I should just get the job. These guys aren't ready. It's like they don't want you to get the job, bro. They don't want it. You're the emergency quarterback. You're the break glass in case of emergency. And right now, even though there are guys injured, it's not an emergency yet. If Pickett injures his hamstring in August 27th instead of August 7th, yes, that's an emergency. That's not where they're at right now.
But here's the thing where you just kind of proved my point. Look how many layers there are before Shedeur gets there. Like, this is a sham. If it's for Pickett or for Flacco, it's just not a real competition. I said this yesterday. Shedeur would have to play he'd have to play amazing. Like, he'd have to look so good for them to not be able to ignore or put him back, at fourth in the QB depth chart or what have you. It's just such a mountain for him to climb, I think, to get anything meaningful. And, the other thing I can tell from some of the Browns reporters is that apparently this coaching staff, so whether it's, Stefanski and even this regime with Andrew Berry, they don't put as much stock into the preseason as they do the joint practices, right? So apparently this is more of a litmus test, they think, than even preseason. And I get it, preseason, the defenses are not game planning for you. They're just working on whatever they're working on, and it can be a little fool's gold. Again, I think there's nothing Shedeur can do. Like, he can play well. We can talk about it. Maybe Jimmy Haslam, the owner, he would have to get involved because I don't think Stefanski wants Shedeur anywhere near the field. And by the time Shedeur actually would get on to an NFL regular season game, if he even gets there, the Browns are going to be so buried in the standings, and it's going to feel so lost that I don't think you're going to be able to glean anything from it anyway. Like, the league will have moved on. Again, I'm starting to think we're not going to see Shedeur at all in the regular season if there's healthier quarterbacks available.
But Maggie, think about this. And sometimes, we talk about doing sports predictions as spoilers, right? And we talk about movies. If I see the actors and I see Ray Liotta and Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, I think I know what I'm going to get. I don't have to know what the movie's title. I have to see a trailer. I kind of have an idea,
it's
right?
Goodfellas.
Yeah. If I'm watching a QB battle that includes Kenny Pickett and 40-year-old Joe Flacco and a third-round pick who's 5'11", and the people running it are the Cleveland Browns, and it's Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. I know how this movie goes. It's going to be a complete S show.
Yeah.
So I think we could say the best laid plans in terms of what they want to happen, which is Shedeur never plays, We know he's going to play because it's the Cleveland Browns. We have a bunch of guys who are going to find a banana peel somewhere, whether it's Pickett, Flacco being at his age, the Browns organization in terms of being dysfunctional, and then the guy that's ahead of him in terms of being a draft pick has a lot of physical limitations. So I think it's inevitable that he gets his shot simply because we know how this movie goes.
Yeah. Even the shot, though, what is it going to mean if it's going to be meaningless, I think, by the time they get to it. That's my point. It's like,
that's fair.
And by the time, like, if Flacco and some kind of Flacco Pickett poo-poo platter is going to play for some extended time, I think they would get to the bye week, which is week 9 or something like that. Their schedule is so hard to begin with. I think you're just going to be so far out of it. Now, again, you can always get our eyeballs for a little Browns dysfunction. Like, I'll put down what I'm doing for a little Browns dysfunction. No doubt. You can bring me in for a midweek press conference that goes off the rails, 100%. But even Shedeur, even the celebrity of all that, if the Browns are careening towards the number 1 overall pick, that could definitely be in play, if he suits up for week 15 at Chicago, or he suits up against Buffalo in week 16 and it's right before Christmas time, I don't think people are paying attention.
But like you said, the celebrity, I don't know if they'll be able to ignore the noise for 18 weeks.
Right.
I think that noise is just going to envelop them to where Shedeur's going to get snatched he probably shouldn't be getting right now.
I know, but he might look just as bad. Like, this is the thing. If you have a team that outside of Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, whatever, like there's a couple good pieces on this team, but none of us would be surprised if they win 3 games and have the number 1 pick next year, right?
Very true.
Okay.
Definitely.
If you're on a team like that, Shedeur's not going to come in and light it up. It's just that can't happen. The team around him is going to be so bad that if Joe Flacco can't do it and Kenny Pickett can't do it and Dylan Gabriel can't do it and who knows, Snoop Huntley, who knows how this depth chart actually lays out. I just don't. You're setting him up to fail. Like, I don't think he's going to look good.
But here's the difference, though: is this is a embattled coach and an embattled front office. I don't think that they're going to be in a position where they're going to be trying to tank late in the season, even if they're bad enough to do so. They may not have to try. They may just be a terrible football team. But I don't know if Kevin Stefanski can afford a 14-loss season. I definitely don't think Andrew Berry can afford something like that. So I think when you get to the end of the year, I don't think you're going to have a bunch of guys that are just playing out the string. I think you're going to have guys saying, like, hey, listen, like, I know the owner wants Arch Manning, and I know we maybe tanking's the best thing, but if we can show that Shedeur actually has something, let's get him coached up, let's get him ready. Maybe that saves our jobs because now we can look at it and say, hey, you know what, the season didn't go that great, but at least we have a future. And the other thing as well, you know, Jimmy Haslam already tried to distance himself from the Arch Manning stuff. Arch Manning may be a 2-year project, which is what he said. The fact that he's saying that, I think, lets me know, okay, like, they're also thinking the same thing. Jimmy Haslam, in terms of what would sell the most tickets, what would get the most eyeballs, what would get the most attention for the Browns organization, there's no doubt if Shedeur Sanders becomes the starting quarterback. So I don't know if it's going to be a situation like Ray was saying where they can afford to wait till week 17. I think Jimmy Haslam may say, wait a minute, we're 2-9 and we're not going to play the most popular guy on the team. Like, that's crazy. Like, they'd have no choice but to play him.
Yeah, you would get a bump, probably a little bump of selling tickets for like Shedeur's first start.
Definitely.
Right?
I don't have a little bump. I mean, they're a terrible team. I think that he sells out the place. I think if he's starting in a random game.
Okay. Phenomenal. What do you think it looks like if he starts the Browns home game week 13 against the San Francisco 49ers? It looks like a bloodbath. And all that maybe positivity or whatever, you know, hey, the end of the season, all that goes out the window. I know Shedeur is a tough guy and he always got up, but Big 12 pass rushers are not the same thing as Nick Bosa. So I guess I would just say, like, I'm starting to I'm leaking confidence here that Shedeur, A, is ever going to get a real shot this year, B, that it would ever look like anything that you'd actually want on tape to begin with, and C, that the Browns are going to in any way handle this right. You make a good point, though. This is an embattled coach and front office.
Yes.
No doubt. But everyone knows the deal. The moment they made the trade out of the second pick with Jacksonville to get that second first rounder, right, for next year. Hell, the owner already came out and said, you know, we're like looking forward to next year. That was August of this year. Like, they all kind of know the deal. So I'm not saying that Stefanski and Barry wouldn't get fired if they are, 3-win team. Sure. But they also kind of are setting them up Like, again, there's 6 quarterbacks on the team right now. It's just insane. How could you go into a season like this and say, man, playoff mandate? Like, it just means the owner wants to fire them. If he fires them after a 3-win season, it's because he wants to fire them and he wants to start something new. It's not because they may have, air quotes, deserved to be fired.
And that's totally true. I just think that it's easy to look at a lot of these things in a vacuum, right? It's easy to say in a vacuum, well, yeah, like they've set themselves up perfectly to get the number 1 pick or get a top pick, whether it be their own pick or the Jags pick, or maybe a combination of both to move up to number 1, however they want to do it. But at the same time, you have real people with real jobs. You have fans that are calling in the radio stations every day, emailing the team, sending letters to the team, showing up with garbage bags over their Browns, dog pound mask. Like it gets really ugly. And then we see how things turn. We saw that in New York City twice, right? Like where, the Giants are just right there. Cam Ward's going to fall right in their lap. They just do the right thing. And the idea of losing every home game was so unappealing to them that they blew it and won a game that meant nothing against the Indianapolis Colts. And we saw the Jets do it when they were trying to, suck for, Trevor Lawrence. Like we've seen so many of these teams late in the year have these situations. The Patriots last year won a game with Joe Milton. Like
beat the Bills.
When you're in those situations, it's just a lot harder to tank than it sounds. I don't know why. Like to me, it should be very simple. Like I think I am pro tanking. Yeah. If you're in a situation where you get the number 1 pick, you cannot blow that opportunity. Play every backup and just tank the game. I think most fans understand what's going on. But it seems like for these players, given the danger of the sport, given the real life things happening, it's a lot harder to actually execute. So I'm not sure if the Browns are going to execute a plan to tank them in the way we will, which is why I'm not going to say that right off completely that Shedeur Sanders can't have some success here.
I'm telling you, you go into a season and you've got 6 quarterbacks, you are doomed.
We should call the Browns the 6. I know Drake has called Toronto the 6. The Browns are now the 6 until they get rid of one of these quarterbacks. I'm just calling them the 6.
Watson, Flacco, Gabriel, Pickett, Shedeur, and Snoop Huntley.
And then Deshaun
Watson.
Makes
6.
Deshaun Watson is now a guy who he's showing up too.
Is this the worst quarterback room ever?
It's got to be up there, right? The best guy. I mean, Deshaun Watson on a torn Achilles might be better than a lot of these guys.
I mean, you do have a Super Bowl MVP. It just happened a decade ago.
Yeah.
I was still in college when he won Super Bowl with the Ravens.
I was there. It was fun. It was a good game. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Shedeur Sanders. Good luck. I mean,
you don't think he can go out there against I know it's the ones, but it's the Carolina Panthers. They're not going to be blitzing, or if they're blitzing, it's going to be very, generic stuff. Everybody's playing vanilla. You don't think that him being accurate, being able to check down and just take the easy stuff, that he can't go out there and give you a 7 for 10? I think he can.
I think it's possible that it could look fine. I think it's going to look simple and fine, and there's nothing wrong with it. I guess there's one part of this that I'm trying to remember if I have this right or if this is just my memory of it. But I feel like when Shedeur was at Colorado, I feel like the first halves were not amazing, and the second halves is really where he was turning it on. And I guess what I mean by that is it took him a second, I think, to get into his rhythm. And I'm trying to remember if that's just my memory of it or if that's really how it went. But are you going to be able to get into a rhythm is what I'm wondering. You are not taking any more meaningful snaps in these joint practices. He's not. This is how the article was painted from yesterday. The headline is just Shedeur Sanders light workload. Dude's about to start a preseason game, and he's not getting any more meaningful reps in practice. So is he going to get the time to get into a rhythm? And those first 2 series, I'm assuming 2 series against the first team defense for Carolina. So if it doesn't look great against the first teams, all right, maybe against the backups, you start doing better. But is that going to impress anybody?
And that's going to be the one thing I do think that would be a little concerning, because if you think about where he's coming from Colorado, and if you want to argue also Jackson State, where everything was about Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, and Travis.
He's getting every rep. He's getting every interview. He's getting all the attention. Everything's about him. You got to go to this rap concert if you want to be on the team. There's all this stuff where everything's about him. So you're always on.
Yeah.
And I think when he talked about the injury, I know he said that he had that injury in college too, but I think he kind of alluded to like, hey, look, I'm sitting for a while, that guy throw. Now I'm sitting for a long time, and I get hot and cold, and that's why I had the shoulder soreness. Like, he's not a priority for them. So I think that will be an adjustment for him is if when you're not getting all this time, or you're not getting all this attention, you don't have to be always on. Are you ready to be on now that you've been thrust into this opportunity? I will say, I feel like in the first game of his career at Colorado at TCU, and even last season against North Dakota State, he lit it up. I mean, he looked really sharp, surprisingly sharp. It seemed like the issues for him kind of started happening later in the season in those years. But, like, anyone who kind of had questions was like, oh, maybe I have to back off because he looks really good. That's why I'm kind of leaning to the bright lights go on. It's his first time out there. He seems to show up. I don't know what the rest of the preseason is going to look like or what the regular season will look like. I think Friday looks really good for him.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So there you go. Shedeur Sanders is going to start the preseason tomorrow against Carolina, but is not getting any more meaningful reps. And I think this is a guy who's about to get buried even deeper on the depth chart. I hate to say it. That's not what I want. I just think this is what the Browns want, and I have no idea why. We have a lot more to do, including what would a successful season look like for the following teams. We got a lot of college football for you as well. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show. EJ Stewart in for Perloff today.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Maggie and Perloff on the airwaves riding high. And in the chat, that's Donald Rose, partner. Countdown starts now. Donald Rose got that digital spunk. Cowboy boots on, sipping Red Bull in a bunk. Tecmo dreams back in 94, but the roommate's Vikings ran up the score. Daly said, you got game, my man. Been watched on fumble like a backup plan. Now he rides with M&B pride. Infinity Sports, he's the king of the ride. Down, cowboy. Boots clap loud with the hips on fire. Down, cowboy. That sports talk spark never tires. Big friendly duck and Kaplan's text. Don'ts in the chat like who's up next. Hold up. Andrew Kaplan's blowing up the phone. Big friendly hit ghost mode, left him alone. Was it a lunch, a call, a plan, a collab? Friendly vanished like a pre-snap nap. But don't stress, he's tuned in tight, yelling let's go when the tape feels right. He's the beat between the hot mic swings. Talk radio's Ray Cowboy King. Friendly's gone, Kaplan's crying. Donald's counting, music flying. No control and no shame, just glowing vibes. Donald's countdown rides, keeping hope alive. Down, cowboy. Excellent sports takes through the neon air. Down, cowboy. No ghost can hide from the fan. Who cares? Infinity's flame, the YouTube stream. Donald's the DJ in the sports fan dream. Rose, the one in the feed. Kaplan still waiting. Friendly won't read, but the countdown's live and the Cowboys free. Donald Rose riding with M&P. Maggie Perloff. Countdown begins at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Donald Rose, he's live on the line to show every thought, every sports headline. From sunrise takes to the YouTube flow, he's pumping that beat from Infinity Show. Eyes wide open, countdown sound that sends hits deep like a goal line pound. He don't just watch, he feels the track. When M&P speak, he's got their back. Back in the day on the dorm room floor, Daddy said, Don, you're a techno warlord. But truth be told, that dream went bust. His roommates Vikings turned brains to dust. Dolphin and Darren, they run it wild. Dolph's playbook, mostly mild, but now he reigns, no controller needed. On Infinity's beats, he's finally undefeated. Counting down with the techno flow. Sports tish with the studio glow. From techno shame to YouTube fame, now every countdown calls his name. Vikings crush me, daily believed me, but now I'm here. Techno redeemed me. Infinity's rising, volume maxed. Countdown king, there's no looking back. Donald Rose, riding high on the M&P feed. Living that sports fan fantasy. Let the techno ride and the high take spin. Rose always ready when the show begins.
45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Talking about the Browns' dysfunction, I also want to get to I was an eyelash from getting completely scammed the other day. Tell you about that. An eyelash.
Wow.
I was one step away from basically giving out all of my information. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But Cannon is in Houston. We've been talking about the Browns quarterback situation. Counted up yesterday at a joint practice between the Browns and the Carolina Panthers. There were 6 Browns quarterbacks on the field. Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Snoop Huntley. Cannon, it's too many quarterbacks.
Yeah, man. I'm really just sick of the Browns. They make me sick to my stomach. Can we just get rid of this organization? Like, seriously.
They tried that already, Cannon.
Yeah, I know. They moved him in the middle of the night.
Man, let's move them again, man. Let's move them again early in the morning this time. I'm just sick of them ruining every quarterback that they touch. It's just sick. And now we're talking about them getting Arch Manning. Why the hell would Arch Manning ever play for this organization? I don't care if they went 0-17, had the number 1 pick. There's no way on God's green earth I would play for the Cleveland Browns. If I'm any great quarterback, let alone a quarterback like Arch Manning, for some reason they picked Shedeur Sanders to stick it and not play him to stick it to Dion or Shedeur for some reason. I don't know why they think that they're the organization that needs to send a message that we don't care about Shedeur. You suck. Like, you're the Browns, bro. Like, stop it. Like, y'all are terrible. The colors are terrible. The name is terrible. I mean, let's just stop this, man. I'm so sick of the Browns. It's ridiculous, man. And then they just do things that don't make any sense. Like, nothing they're doing right now is no way you can explain it that makes sense. There's nothing that you can say that can tell me that this is smart or winning or looking towards. It's no future, present, or anything. I mean, I don't know what this team is doing.
Like, and you want to know the funniest part about this, and you know, spot the lie of anything you said, even down to the uniforms. I mean, I know they're iconic in some ways. Jim Brown, you know, wearing that Browns uniform, but like brown of all the colors, like brown. Anyway, what's the funniest part about this is talk to any NFL person. They'll tell you Andrew Berry's one of the smartest GMs out there, and they'll tell you, and Kevin Stefanski's won 2 Coach of the Years. That's half as many as Bill Belichick. Guys, like, I don't know how they can allegedly have these smart people and they keep doing these dumb things if you're not going to tell me the owner's not involved. Because this reeks of owner getting involved, thinking that they know more than they do, and messing up the whole thing. And I think a lot of people feel the way that Cannon does. And to be honest, right there with you on Arch Manning. I don't care what kind of relationship his uncle Peyton has with Jimmy Haslam, going back to both being Tennessee alums. Like, you could be my first cousin, my brother. I'm not sending you to Cleveland. No way Arch ever suits up for the Cleveland Browns. I'd bet my life on it. And I actually didn't think Shedeur was ever going to be a Cleveland Brown because I thought Dion would step in and say, I'm not sending my kid to the Cleveland Browns, but Shedeur lost all of his leverage because they mishandled the pre-draft process.
Yeah, there's a chance that maybe that was the situation in the first round where they said we don't want to go there, or maybe that was one of the teams where he didn't give a lot of effort in the meetings. But then once you get to the fifth round, it's like, hey, it's 3 a.m. at the bar.
Yep.
You got to go with somebody, right? And I think that could be a little bit of what's happening. I mean, I agree. I actually really like Kevin Stefanski as a head coach. I think Andrew Berry, when he first got there, definitely made some good moves. But it feels like, and this happens sometimes, you make one disastrous decision, the chain reaction that happens after that is massive. And it feels like the Deshaun Watson trade and signing is they're just never going to get out of that. It's going to take an entire rebuild where everyone is gone. You scrap the entire front office, a lot of the roster. It feels like a lot of that's going to have to happen until this thing gets figured out. Until then, I mean, the fact that he's still around makes this thing awkward because they had to find quarterbacks to play this year. If he was just healthy, and they could have said, all right, we'll just play you, and then, we'll just let your contract expire. That would have been one thing, but now they can't do that.
Yeah, I think you can keep changing the guys in the front office. The quarterbacks have been in and out. The coach is a revolving door. Until the ownership changes, it's not going to change. It's rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic as long as this dude, Jimmy Haslam, is the owner. I fully believe that. I think it about your Jets at times. Woody Johnson, bad owners are bad owners, and they keep their teams bad for a long time. You're welcome to weigh in at 888-710-4ISN. I came within an eyelash of giving out all my personal information the other day. This is a new scam that's happening, and it's happened to a lot of people because I put it out on social media and said, has anyone else, encountered this? Get a call, allegedly, from Chase Bank. Now, it says Chase Bank, okay? They called me 3 times in the same day. So on the third one, I'm like, well, geez, maybe Chase Bank is trying to get in touch with me. It's possible. So I pick up, hey, Chase Bank, we need to verify some charges. That's it. Verify some charges. I go, well, how do I know you're actually Chase Bank? They go, well, put our phone number that we're calling you from, 212-55 into Google. And I'll wait here. So you can Google our phone number. I do it. A branch comes up, legitimate, actually exists on my Google Maps. This branch exists in the world, in New York City and the financial district. Okay. I'm still like a little hesitant. We have 2 payments out to Rebecca Green. $1,000 here, $3,000 here.
What are you doing giving Bex all that money?
No.
Rebecca Green, you backstabber. No. Do you have these payments to someone named Rebecca? Well, now I'm like, geez, now we're talking about $4,000. Okay. So now you got my attention. Do you have these payments? I'm like, well, I don't know anyone named Rebecca Green. They're like, yeah, okay. We've been seeing a lot of this. We're just going to need some of your information to verify. And I'm like, okay, hold on a second. I'm thinking to myself, why are they calling me? Because I'm not the only person on this account. There's another person on this account, right? Why are you calling me, not them? And this and that. So I said, can you verify for me who's the other person on this account? Excuse me? Said, I'm not the only person on this account. Verify for me. What's the other name on the account? Click, hung up.
Wow.
I was this close to verifying my information. And you want to know how the balls these people have? They called me back again.
Well, maybe it's like, hey, the line got disconnected.
They called me again.
Yeah, that second name on the account. Is it Andrew Perloff?
Yeah. Is it E.J. Stewart, Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Kaplan, all the Weedos, the coffee drinkers? They know I give you guys all my personal emergency contacts. Yeah, how about that?
I mean, the one thing I will say is I feel like a lot of these, when they do the verified, because I got one of those calls recently, but it was legit. When they do the verify your purchases, usually it's automated, at least for my bank.
Yeah.
Which I know, okay, it's automated. I don't have to give them anything.
Yes.
It's literally just click 1 if it's yes, click 2 if no.
Yep.
And so I'm not talking to a person.
Yeah, this is our so-and-so fraud system. But here's the thing. I don't trust the text messages either because I've been almost scammed 100 different times on text. Whether it's, hey, it's you owe this or that, or this is me. So on text, I've almost been scammed. On emails, I've almost been scammed. And now on phone calls, I've almost been scammed. There's no other way to get in touch with me.
I know.
This is
yeah.
it.
I just ignore texts. If a bank,
No way.
The bank texts me. I'm like, they're gonna have to call me.
But you're just saying they're like, did you verify this charge? But you had actually made the charge.
Well, no, they're automated calls.
Oh,
that's what I mean. So like they're automated calls. So they called me this week and they were like, have you done blah blah blah? And I was like, click 1 for yes, click 2 for no. So I just clicked the numbers and I was never gonna go to a person.
Right.
Like I've done this enough with my bank that I know it's gonna be, if it's no, then they're just gonna cancel my card.
Sure.
Which, okay, fine. That's whatever.
Right.
But like I know I'm never gonna have a conversation where like, all right, give us information. Like you said, your bank should always have your information.
Yeah,
so
right. Why are you? That's why they couldn't give me the second name on the account. So I'm like, well, this is, and then they hung up because they knew they got. But it's just, this is what the scammers have done now. It's become so sophisticated and it's become so crazy that if someone actually did need to get in touch with me, forget it. If there is something wrong with anything, I'm not trusting it's anybody.
I told you the story about how my fiance, her brother, well, it was their grandmother. She got scammed because they basically knew her brother's name and had Andrea's brother, a man who sounded like Andrea's brother, call her grandmother saying that he was in jail and needed $5,000 to be brought out.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sounds like him. He's mentioning things about like their family and like whatever that made, their grandmother think that, oh, well, Chris is in jail, I got to give him money. And, you gave him the money for bail and then that was it. And then,
you're out 5 G's.
Yeah.
Well, Chris is at
little old ladies.
Chris is at a Raising Cane's this entire time, not knowing that he was in prison.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I was in prison, and of course, their dad was like, "What the hell?" He's going crazy. But like these scammers are definitely up in their game, which is scary.
It is, and it's just there's no other way. So what are you going to send a messenger pigeon? There's no other way to get in touch with me. And also, like the mail. Well, what are we doing with the mail? The mail, snail mail, whatever it is. Some of that stuff can, you can go through the mail, but it's not as up to date.
Definitely not.
Anyway, so
you just have to hang
careful.
up the phone and call that place back on your own and say, "Is there a problem with my account?"
Right.
Like even if someone calls my wife and I, and it's a legitimate person with a question, I'll hang up the phone. We'll call you back.
Yeah.
We'll call you back.
No, you can do that. But then all of a sudden I'm on the phone with Chase for 45 minutes.
Hey, Schwartz, how was your conversation with Cablevision the other day?
Oh, it was not very good at all.
What's that, your internet and cable provider?
Well, yeah, because I wanted to order HBO. So I wanted to add it because we don't have HBO in our package. So I wanted to get it so I can watch the Billy Joel and get it for Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
So I call up and I want to add HBO, and the person says, "Oh, this is great. We have a 3-month for free promotion."
I'm sure.
I said, "Okay, great. Let's sign it up." Right? They put me on hold. They come back. "Oh, we're gonna have to transfer you to a different department."
Of course.
In order to do this, they transfer me to another department. I'm on hold for a little while longer. Person comes back. I tell them, "I just want to add HBO to my package." And they said, "That's great. We can give you 6 months free."
Oh, amazing.
HBO. I'm like, this call is getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely great.
You're going to be the president of HBO by the time
pretty
this
soon.
ends.
HBO Sports is coming back.
Yeah.
And then they go, "Oh, I'm unable to process this order. Let me transfer you to another department."
Wow.
Another 30 minutes on hold, getting the person on the phone. "Yeah, we have a special offer for you. It's $16.99 a month." I said, "No, wait a second."
Oh, there you go.
I spoke to 2 other people. The first one said 3 months for free.
Yeah.
The next one said 6 months for free. "Oh, no. You're an existing Cablevision customer. You can't get that." I'm like, "But no. I didn't. First of all, I didn't call asking for it for free.
Yeah, you offered.
I called to add it to my cable system.
Right.
You offered 3 months for free and 6 months for free.
Yeah.
And then they put me on hold again, and then they hung up the phone on me.
Yeah.
Then I tried.
They'll do that.
I tried calling back, and I arranged for a supervisor to call me back. They did call me back while I was driving to an appointment, and they said, "This is your callback from Cablevision." 5 seconds later, click.
Yeah. No, they'll just hang up on you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So needless to say, it never happened.
Yeah. Now you can be a Verizon customer.
So Schwartz didn't see Hard Knocks this week. That's the
story.
Well, you missed it because AJ Epinesa apparently can catch a python with his bare hands.
What's wrong with that guy?
I don't know. Can the Bills get some low-key hobbies? Like, do you have to be drag racing basically or drift racing and
Now that's pretty tight. That's pretty tight though.
Yeah, with your 6-year-old in the car like
That's
Deion
even tighter.
Dawkins. Dude, that guy's going to end up in jail for
You
child
already
endangerment.
You already know, Maggie.
Yeah, I know. That was a silly
drag
thing.
racing. The python was bad. I still think Dawson Knox having a full training camp with just a carry-on is also crazy.
Yeah.
And his wife
That's
mentioned
just guys. No, see, this is the thing. This is where the first episode of Hard Knocks. This is the thing, though. They get all these clothes from the Bills.
That's
he's
true.
in a uniform. This is like his walk around stuff. And someone else is doing his laundry, I'm sure.
Bill's t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah, they got all that game issued stuff.
They sweat a lot. Like, I don't know.
You can just wash it.
And I'm a carry-on guy. I did a whole Euro trip on a carry-on. But, I mean, he's going to be there for 2-3 weeks in the heat of Buffalo with all the sweat and stuff. I mean, in summer, it's going to be hot. Like,
it's not Phoenix, bro.
I know, but
no, let me tell you, I lived in Buffalo for 4 years. It's hot during the summer.
It's the only time to go visit.
And, like, I'm watching how, like, his wife did a beautiful job of packing that suitcase, but it was packed. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
You can afford a regular suitcase, bro.
Oh, he can definitely afford it. It's just laziness on trying to pack it.
He's low-key. That's what he's trying to get across.
Mm-hmm.
Low-key.
Mysterious.
Also, weird. No Dalton Kincaid in that first episode.
That was weird. And no Cook either.
No James Cook either. Yeah.
They showed him at one point sign an autograph, but it was just like quick cutaway.
He's gonna be the next one.
Can't believe Tyler Bass was also omitted. Can you believe that? Kickers are people too. Damn it.
Yeah, well, he was one miss away from getting thrown in the
out of your treadmill.
Lake Ontario. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. I was doing the Rochester version. But, Peter, can you hang on 1 second? We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get your headlines. Had to take a quick detour there to alert America that you may be getting scammed. If your bank is calling you, don't pick up. It's Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. EJ Stewart in for Perloff today. Peter Schwartz in for Bogish today. Manny in the EP chair. Ray on the ones and twos. Everyone's shuffling around. Peter has some headlines for us. We'll get back to the Browns quarterback situation in a moment. But what's the latest and greatest, Pete?
Well, we begin with baseball. The Yankees tried to snap out of their funk yesterday. Yankees and Rangers tied at 2 in the 7th.
Here's the pitch. Swing on a drive deep to left. Got a chance. Giddy up, baby. Gone. First row home run. Paul Goldschmidt, 3-2 Yankees. Oh, man. Talk about timely.
Manny, you gotta calm down.
We are so back, Peter.
Man, they still suck.
The
Stop
World
it.
Series is back on, Peter. Believe.
Come on.
You gotta. What do they say across town? You gotta believe.
No, you're not.
Please don't rip off their things, and we still stink, so relax. Dave Sims on Yankees radio. Yankees snap a 5-game skid, beat the Rangers 3-2. Now to Seattle.
Runners at second and third, delivers. Swing and a well-hit ball deep to left field. Holy smokes, it is over the out-of-town scoreboard. A rocket to left center. Julio Rodriguez with number 21 on the season scores 3 more.
That was Rick Riz on Mariners radio, and the Mariners beat the White Sox 8-6. Other games yesterday, the Padres over the Diamondbacks 3-2. You had the Brewers winning their 6th straight game. They beat the Braves 5-4. The Giants over the Pirates 4-2. You had the Guardians beat the Mets 4-1. Gavin Williams had a no-hitter through 8 1/3, broken up by a Juan Soto home run in the 9th inning.
Thank God. That would have been terrible. I mean, great for Cleveland, but terrible for where the Mets are.
Just
right now.
listless at the plate.
Maybe someone would have lost their job if we got no hit. Vic Chavez.
That's true, too. By the way, Cleveland, what's with these teams that are trading away players and then winning? Like, Cleveland, you trade away all these guys, and now you've won 3 straight. Like, this was supposed to be an easy cakewalk, you would think. Get right team, but, like, maybe they're still in it in terms of a wild card spot?
3 wild card teams,
exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to tank now, I think, in baseball because there's so many spots, and it's a lot of parity right now.
The Red Sox signed outfielder Roman Anthony to an 8-year extension, reportedly worth $130 million.
I couldn't think of a better city to play in for the next 8 to 9 years of my life, and I'm super excited. I want to thank all the fans who show up every day and continue to support us regardless of the outcome.
And with significant escalators, the deal can max out at $230 million. Also from baseball yesterday, Jen Powell will become the first female umpire in Major League Baseball history. She's going to work this weekend's Marlins-Braves series in Atlanta. She's been a minor league umpire since 2016. I guess the last time a woman got this close was Pam Postema back in the 80s. She was a AAA umpire, and I was in college in Buffalo at the time, and she used to umpire games there. And she did spring training games, but she never quite got to the point where they thought about bringing her up to the majors. So this is pretty significant,
No,
obviously.
it's amazing. And, as a former ump myself, certified up to the JV level, clearly, it's the time for me to flex my chops as well. But here's what I thought when finally woman breaks through like this glass ceiling just as we're getting rid of umpires.
I know.
Congrats.
Get ready to call ABS.
Everyone's out. Yeah, I mean, you're still going to have, like, umpires for the theater of it, but they're no longer going to call balls and strikes, like, very soon.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it felt, not that she didn't earn it, she has, but it was like, here's the symbolism of you get and achieve your dreams, and we're taking it all away.
Get ready to learn ABS.
Enjoy the moment.
Yep.
NFL, Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he's open to playing in the preseason opener on Saturday in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting conversation. I think Mike and I will have that at some point. I don't think it's in the plan for me to play this week, but whatever Mike wants to do, I'm fully on board. If he wants me to go out there and play, I'll play. If not, then I won't.
He's Pittsburgh's problem now.
No, it's funny. It's just, it's just so funny to me that it's just so much like a relationship of people dating at the beginning, like this bromance. And I see it sometimes where it's like whatever they want. Like, yeah, you want to go to the Judas Priest concert? Like, sure, I'm into that. No, I'm totally. Oh yeah, you want to go to a Browns preseason game? No, that's my thing too. I'm into that. Like people who are, you're not like, you don't want to show your whole personality yet. Everything has just been smooth sailing, and so you just go with the flow. Like EJ and I were just at SummerSlam.
Yep.
WWE SummerSlam over the weekend with Anthony Gallo. And I see this a little bit. We're on the concourse. We're getting some videos from fans and stuff like that. And you can tell who the women are who showed up who do not want to be at SummerSlam. But they're simply there to support their guy and like support their man and, show up. And I see some of these women. I know there are a lot of women fans.
Yeah. Yay, sports.
But you show up and you're like, oh, you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But like, way to put on the outfit.
Well, listen, next month they're going to be going, the man's going to be going to Sabrina Carpenter
This goes the other way
Olivia
too.
Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Like that receipt is coming one way or another. That is always how it goes.
Yeah, that's true. The woman will get theirs.
By the way, this quote from Aaron Rodgers, the other thing that stood out to me was that the fact that he said that he hasn't talked to Mike Tomlin yet about it.
Yeah, the game's 2 days.
Yeah, that seems odd. Like what? Like what? And this is such a football thing. I'm not even saying Aaron Rodgers is lying or anything. I actually believe him that they didn't talk about it. But it's such a football culture thing that I don't have to tell my players whether or not they're playing in the game or not. Why wouldn't you do that? Like,
yeah, the game's Saturday.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers, I think, has been a good soldier and he's like doing all the right things. I think you should alert him. Hey, we're not going to play you. Like, just take it easy. Or you are playing, get ready. Like, I assume he's not going to play if Aaron Rodgers says I haven't got any indication I'm playing. But why are we doing this song and dance where you can't tell the 41-year-old veteran who's a multiple-time MVP whether or not he's playing week 1 in preseason?
Is it possible
maybe they did tell him and he just is like BSing everybody.
Well, I just also wonder maybe they don't know. Why
would you not know?
Well, to the point of he didn't show up for any of the off-season stuff, so maybe they do want to keep it a little fluid of listen, if we feel like we need it, maybe we'll throw him out there for a couple for a drive or two.
And you may look at some of these practices, and Tomlin could be making the decision, looking at these last few practices, being like, "Oh, we look really raggy. We need to go out there and play." And he is old school like that. Remember last year when we were waiting for some very big change to happen with the Steelers, and he's like, "We're gonna put on pads this week." Like that was the big change that he did mid-season when the Steelers struggled. Maybe it was this year or it was the year before. I forgot which year. But it was like, we're going to put on pads. Like, he's very old school in that, like, we're just going to change things up, or the solutions sometimes are very simple.
Well, I know you can't do 1 year to the next. It doesn't matter. But the one thing with the Steelers, like, you saw Russell Wilson get hurt in training camp last year. Like, you know what it's like to have these more fragile quarterbacks. Sure. Like, Big Ben wasn't fragile necessarily, but even at the end when he's battling injuries, like, why you would have Aaron Rodgers start a preseason game beyond me. I just think it's a terrible idea.
Makes no sense. One last NFL note, the NFLPA receiving a clarification from the NFL on the use of smelling salts yesterday.
Oh, good.
Players can use their own stash of smelling salts, but the teams are not allowed to distribute it. So that was the clarification yesterday. So if you have your own stash, you can use it, but don't ask the trainer if you don't have it.
BYOSS, bring your own smelling salts.
It rolls off the tongue.
Oh, it does it ever.
That's funny. So it's obviously not a. See, this is why the NFL is so disingenuous because they came out and said the smelling salts can mask the symptoms of a concussion. Wasn't it this about player safety, but now it's just, no, you got to get high on your own supply?
On your own supply.
Take your safety in your own hands, people. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
Shout out to George Kittle for bringing this down.
We don't want to be liable. You bring your own smelling salts. You don't know what's going on in your brain. That's not my problem. That's what this whole thing is. It's one big cover your...
Running from CTE allegations down the road.
And by the way, we want to talk about, just the most annoying stories to me, like all these millionaires complaining about damn smelling salts. Get over it, guys. This has been the most ridiculous story to me.
I think it just you show what they really want, what really goes on. They're sniffing these things like there's no tomorrow.
They love ammonia.
That's problematic. I'm like, what, guys, get it together.
EJ, I mean, it's human cockfighting. Okay, lots more next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Young quarterbacks, all the rage. Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff show. EJ Stewart's in for Perloff today. We've been going through every quarterback room in the NFL one by one until we get to the season opener. That will be the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. Today, we are still in the NFC North, so Ray, hit the music.
I feel so lucky to be the quarterback.
It's the position everyone wishes they could play.
Why can't I be quarterback, huh? Sit down and shut up.
But it's not for the faint at heart.
Quarterbacks are premium.
I think those things add up to make it quarterbacking the toughest job in sports.
Maggie and Perloff answer one big question about the quarterback.
All right, today it's Maggie and EJ. So Manny Rodriguez is giving us our one big question about the Chicago Bears. Go ahead, Manny.
That's right, you guys. We head to the Windy City. Things not exactly going to plan in Chicago for the Bears and their quarterback, Caleb Williams. So I ask you guys, will Caleb Williams be the team's starting quarterback in 3 years?
Oh, man, I understand that things aren't going well. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, this all started to me last year when the Bears went into the season with Caleb Williams with a lame duck head coach and Matt Eberflus, who was just waiting to get fired. And then this offseason when Caleb Williams gives some very revealing quotes to author Seth Wickersham about how hesitant he was about coming to Chicago to begin with and really did want to go to Minnesota. I think Caleb Williams is going to be the Bears quarterback, not just in the next 3 years, EJ. I think it's the next 10 years. I'm not giving up on the prophecy here. I do think they are going to get this ironed out. And all of the growing pains that we're seeing now are just a necessary step and necessary uncomfortability to get to where they need to go. This is what's going on in Chicago. Okay, I'm not some football coach, but I know enough to know this. They are completely changing the way that Caleb Williams has to play, okay? He was coached up, I think, well by Lincoln Riley, but this is a very different system than what he was doing in college, right? This is not a lot of shotgun. He does have to be under center. It's kind of just relearning or learning a new way to play QB. That's going to be a little uncomfortable. It's like getting a bad haircut. It's got to grow out a little bit before it looks like what it's supposed to look like. So he's got to go through this now, and it's better to be making the mistakes now than when the season gets going. I think what people don't understand, too, about Ben Johnson, although we should because we watched him be the offensive coordinator in Detroit. This is a run-first offense.
Yes, it is.
So that actually decreases the amount, I think, the margin for error. They are going to be heavy on the run game here. That helps the quarterback. What we're seeing now, just a little bit of growing pains, just some frustration. I do think this is ultimately going to be a good marriage. And to be honest, if things go poorly in Chicago, I think Ben Johnson's going to wear it more than Caleb Williams. I've been very open about that. I know that it hasn't exactly been a love affair yet between the city and Caleb, but Ben Johnson hasn't shown anything as far as a head coach. Caleb Williams won the Heisman and came in. You can see some of the talent. I have no idea if Ben Johnson's going to be a good head coach. So to me, I think Caleb is not just here for now in Chicago. He's here for the long haul.
Man, I was all in on Caleb Williams to the Bears in terms of him being a generational talent. I don't think he's there in 3 years. And it sounds crazy considering, just how well we thought of him coming out of the NFL draft. But we forget this is not Ben Johnson's pick at quarterback. And whenever you have a head coach who inherits a quarterback, it's almost like they're looking for reasons to get rid of you. It's rare that you see a guy get really embraced when they didn't choose you. Like, even with Jared Goff, like, they technically kind of chose Jared Goff. They traded for him. He may have been a throw-in, but that's the guy they decided to be their quarterback in that new regime in Detroit. And there was a lot of a love affair. There definitely was a love affair there. And a lot of, like, you know what? He may not be everybody else's guy, but he's our guy. I think this is going in a weird way with the Bears offense and how it started. There's been a lot of criticism from Ben Johnson in terms of how sloppy they've been, the issues that Caleb Williams is having in terms of getting the teams in and out of the huddles and these procedural penalties. He seems to be very frustrated by that.
Yep.
And the reality is they play in a murderer's row of a division where you have tough games, you have some tough cold weather games. Even though they're a cold weather team, they're not very good. At least they haven't been very good for the last few years. It's just a tough spot. And I think for Caleb Williams, I don't even know if I'm saying that I think he's a bust. But I think this year is not going to go as well as people think. I think you're going to see a lot of more growing pains. You're already talking about a quarterback who's the number one pick in the draft that could be going in 2 seasons where we still don't know if he's a star yet. I think that's going to be the reality by the time the season is over. And then the seat gets really hot. And I'll be honest, I think they'll turn on Caleb Williams before they turn on the coach. Because the Chicago Bears have had successful coaches despite quarterback play. They had Mike Ditka. They've had Lovie Smith. They will get behind a coach. They believe in that guy. They believe in that guy's vision. And they'll say, quarterback, you're the problem. You got to go. And I think for Caleb Williams, considering he's kind of a different cat, he doesn't look Chicago, feel Chicago to me in many ways. I think they'll look at him and say, you know what, that guy from USC, he's the pain in the nails. He's the problem. Let's go get a real tough guy. And we're going to change the quarterback position. I think that's a reality. And maybe he goes on to be a star somewhere else.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't like the way this thing is looking.
So it's interesting about who would get the blame if this goes sideways. I think that the Bears fan right now, despite all the amazing history that the Bears franchise has and how like revered they are as a franchise, I think you could look at how they've been run and you could get really frustrated with some of the decisions that have been made with the Bears, right?
Definitely.
Like, absolutely, in terms of it's been a revolving door of coaches. You know, GM and coach are never on the same timetable. It just, to me, there's a lot of ways you can poke holes and reasons why the Bears have been left in the dust in the NFC North. I mean, when the Lions have been able to turn things around and you are still not super competitive, like that to me it's an organizational failure.
Definitely.
Like it's your worst nightmare if you're a Bear fan. The fact that the Lions can stand over you and say we're the better run organization when they had an 0 season. But that's why I think that if Caleb struggles, I think that the fan base would look and say, we messed this up. You guys messed this up. You had a talent. It all fell into your hands. We weren't even supposed to have the number 1 pick, but you did pull off this amazing trade with a dumb organization in the Carolina Panthers. Now, we'll see what happens with Bryce Young, but this wasn't very smart. And you landed the number 1 overall pick. You got a great talent, and the team messed him up because this is so far what the Bears have done, at least in year 1 with Caleb. It's all the things that you do to mess up a young quarterback. You put him with a head coach that's not going to be there, with a bad offensive coordinator who's not going to be there. They all got fired. So now he's in his third person in his headset who's giving him play calls. Yes. It's all the things that confuse young quarterbacks and stifle their development. So I don't think he would get the lion's share of the blame, even if his personality is a little bit of a different cat. I just think the Bears want competent quarterback play, and his personality isn't so brash that it's going to really rub people the wrong way, like in mass.
If we say that now, but again, when that losing mounts up, everything gets magnified, right? Like I remember, Zach Wilson chewing on gum and just looking smug in a press conference. Lost the city. Lost the city. Like he didn't do anything wrong before that. He was an upstanding kid before that. And they had a terrible offensive performance. He's chewing gum in a game where they scored no points, and he's like, I don't know, it's a team loss. And the city he couldn't recover from that.
Could not recover.
And I think to me, like Caleb Williams is way more like very confident in himself and who he is. That I don't know if he's going to do way more than that. I think if things get bad there. And then one thing I will say is, I do think yes, Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, like those guys are definitely going to take a lot of blame. I still don't think it's going to be Ben Johnson. I think the fans are going to look at this and say, well, listen, like the organization has been a mess before Ben Johnson even got here. The last place Ben Johnson was, it ran extremely well. He's coming here and he's identifying the problems. He's identifying where the organizational problems are. And now if Caleb Williams struggles, they're going to say he's identifying the quarterback issue. So we have trust in this guy that he can figure it out. And then the one last thing I'll say about the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams fit. There's the one thing about this fit that did worry me a little bit.
Yeah.
When I think about the Lions offense and I think about kind of how they play football, you mentioned run first team. Also, like Jared Goff is not asked to do a lot of freestyling. In fact, it feels like when he's asked to do that or he has to do that, that's when he makes a lot of mistakes. I think Caleb Williams is super talented when it comes to playing off script, when it comes to making plays that no other quarterback can make. It's in some ways, it's almost like trying to get Josh Allen to play like very conventional football. I don't know if it's in his DNA. So I wonder if this is a round peg, square hole situation where Ben Johnson's saying you got to hit this target at this time and be precise. And maybe Caleb Williams is like, well, I can make a bigger play and I'm very creative and you got to let me be an artist. That conversation where are you an artist or are you, a
surgeon?
A surgeon, right? Caleb Williams is an artist, and I think that this is a surgical offense. So if they're going to try to make him into something that he's not, that could come up with a lot of problems. That could present a lot of problems as well.
And again, that's why I think Ben Johnson would get the blame, because it's like if he is trying to make an artist a surgeon, they're going to say, well, why didn't you use the physical gifts of a guy? But to be honest, I think that in order for Caleb Williams, like, this is where he should be listening to the coaches and where he does have to learn more, because you're right. Josh Allen was wild when he first got to the NFL, and he actually had to hone it in to become a more accurate passer. Definitely. It wasn't just because Stephon Diggs got there and caught everything. He actually had to refine his game, which is what Caleb Williams is going to have to do. The other thing, too, though, about we're talking about the Bears quarterback situation. The question today, will Caleb Williams be the Bears starter in 3 years? Like, is this thing going in the right direction? Is it going in the wrong direction? I think Bears fans will look back and say, you've tried to sell us on this offensive genius before, and it didn't do diddly squat. Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy. You can't be coming from a better organization than Matt Nagy. He's Andy Reid's right-hand man. He came to Chicago. It didn't work. Now you're giving us Ben Johnson. We have no idea. He's coming from a great organization in Detroit. We have no idea if this is going to work. I think that the coaches will get the more of the blame, I think, than the player. You have to play Mitchell Trubisky level bad for them to turn on you.
We also got to factor in that having Eberflus as a head coach with a rookie quarterback, considering the mess that season was, this is almost a clean slate for Caleb Williams. This is
it's like a rookie year.
Rookie year 2.0. So I think we're willing to give him a lot of grace and let him mess up again. The whole artist to doctor surgeon situation, I think there's going to be a happy medium, but it's going to take all 17 games to get to that happy medium.
And also, it's just, I think if they're just in the hunt, is there a playoff mandate?
I think there is. I think, and it's a tough division, but I think that people thought that they were going to be a playoff team last season. And that didn't go. That was with Matt Eberflus. Like, now you got the best, arguably the best, play caller in the game, who's coming in to fix a Bears offense that people still feel has talent, right? Like, you got DJ Moore, you got Rome Odunze, who you drafted very high. Luther Burden is a guy I couldn't believe he didn't go higher. I love this kid out of Missouri, and you got DeAndre Swift at running back. So I think there are expectations, considering how well they've played defense, that they should make the playoffs, regardless of how tough the division is. And I don't know if they're going to be up for it. It's going to be tough. And we could say that, yes, this is a kind of like a blank slate year, but it's got to go well. Like, when we did this last time, it was with Trevor Lawrence. It was like, he's got a blank slate year because he played for Urban Meyer. If Trevor Lawrence went out there and it took him 17 games still to look like he could be a starting quarterback, I think we're having very different conversations about Trevor Lawrence. It was the fact that he went out there and played so well and made the playoffs that we were like, see, that's why we need to give him that year, because it was, so bad under Urban Meyer. If Caleb Williams is struggling and they're 3-5 and things aren't working out, it's not going to look the same. We're not going to have the same patience we had with another QB who had a terrible rookie head coach the last time.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So we are asking one big question about every quarterback room in the NFL today is the Chicago Bears. And our question, will Caleb Williams be the starting quarterback in 3 years? It's like, where is this thing going with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson? The reports have not been good. They have not.
Like it.
The reports have not been good. But again, this is what the preseason is for. And especially when you are basically, installing an entirely new offensive system. If it looked like perfect out of the gate, that would be stunning. I think you can let guys struggle a little bit.
You know what's been weird real quickly about not only Ben Johnson, but also Aaron Glenn a little bit is from what I have seen.
The two Lions coordinators who are now head coaches.
Yes.
Yeah.
From what I have seen, it doesn't feel like they're coaching their teams anything like the Lions were coached. Like, you remember Dan Campbell, and we watched Hard Knocks, so we actually really got to see how he was coaching his team. It was all positivity. It was all, I know this is tough. I know everything's tough. Everything's, difficult, but trust me, guys.
I believe in you.
I believe in you.
Yeah, it was very positive.
There is none of that. Definitely none of that in Chicago. It seems like Aaron Glenn softened a little bit now the training camp has started, but they've been both kind of hard asses. And that's a weird thing. It makes me wonder, did they learn the right lessons from their time in Detroit? Because I definitely think, as much as those coordinators were a big part of their success, I think Dan Campbell's attitude and how he approached that situation, which I think is quite similar to what the Lions were, right? Teams that haven't been in the playoffs in a long time, they won Super Bowls, but have won Super Bowls decades ago. They're similar situations that I think maybe require a similar tact, and they're going the opposite. They're like, we're going to be tough. I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong. It feels like a totally different shift from how the Lions were developed.
I'm telling you, if you listen to this show with any kind of regularity, Perloff loves Ben Johnson, right? Wants to fit him for a gold jacket right now, that this is the next great coach. And I've been the one who's been more reserved on that because you got to find that balance, right? Mm-hmm. Or you've got to figure out, if you come in and you are this, really hard-ass coach, but you don't have all the answers, you look like a fool.
Definitely.
And, I thought Ben Johnson, when he came in and called out Matt LaFleur, I was really shocked. He had this opening press conference as well. Anytime you can beat up on Matt LaFleur, said his name.
Yeah.
And I figured, they must have been college roommates or something if you're going to pull that kind of joke at your opening press conference. And the Green Bay Packers head coach was like, I've never talked to this guy. I'm like, who is you? You're coming in and you're saying that all of a sudden you're going to, you love beating up on Matt LaFleur? That's all well and good when you're the offensive coordinator. It's much different when you're the head coach.
Feels very college. I didn't love it when he did it. I think in college, when the coach comes in and talks about, we're not going to talk about that school upstate or whatever. Those shots, I think, are warranted. I think rivalries mean a lot more in college. So
also, you're recruiting against them.
You're recruiting
this is
against
the NFL.
Them. Yeah, this is going to be, whoever wins on Sunday or Monday or Thursday, they play every day now. Whoever wins on those days is going to win. It don't matter really what you're talking about in the offseason. It felt a little juvenile, but to be fair, maybe this is also Ben Johnson, quickly course correcting. He could have been there being like, we're going to just smoke the Packers, then watched the product on the field and was like, all right, hold up, we're not there yet. And then maybe he's changing it up. And if he is, I could accept that. What I don't want is a guy being false bravado when there's nothing there.
Right.
You don't want to be the emperor with no clothes, right? And you hope that maybe, yes, the Packer fans are going to hold on to those comments that they tweet them again this year. But you hope that most of America kind of forgets how Ben Johnson was in that first press conference, similar to when we talk about Nick Sirianni and some of the other coaches who have had bad press conferences. You hope that that's something we can kind of forget about.
Well, Nick Sirianni's opening press conference he just sounded like he was on the train, was on the tracks, and then just took a left turn. He didn't call out, Dak Prescott or something like that. He just lost his train of thought, and it sounded stupid. You're calling out the Packers head coach, and now you're at practice geez, I don't know, we're one day at a time. Okay. We're not going to win a lot of games if we keep playing like this. What happened? We love beating the Packers. That wasn't 2 years ago. It was 3 months ago. So maybe a little more, 4 months ago. Anyway, 888-710-4ISN. The question today, will Caleb Williams be the Bears quarterback in 3 years? There you go. Okay, lots to do, including what will a successful season look like for the following teams, and some very interesting comments that one veteran had about Travis Hunter and his attempt to play both ways in the NFL this season. It's Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. EJ's in for Perloff today. We're going to play a little game here called What Would a Successful Season Look Like for the Following Teams? We've got 4 NFL teams take a little bit of music, Ray, just a little something. Manny's going to give us the team. EJ and I will tell you what a successful season will look like for them. Pull up. Okay, great. Manny, go ahead.
So the New York Jets, we'll start with them. What will be a successful season for the Jets, Jets?
Whew, this is tough.
You can take it first. You're the Jet fan.
Yeah, I love my Jets. Not expecting a big season. I think to me, if it looks like Aaron Glenn is the coach of the future, that is all that matters. I don't think if they have to tank and that happens, that's fine. I think if they win 8 games, that's fine. I think even more than ensuring that they even have the quarterback of the future, they have to know that they have a head coach that they can actually really believe in, because they've gone through now so many coaches that were not the answer. And then you go with Aaron Glenn, who's obviously a former New York Jet, a very good Jet player when he was here, one of the more highly regarded coordinators in the NFL. I think if he looks questionable and we're looking at this thing saying like it don't look like he has a clue, we're going to be on the same train all over again. Because if that's the case, then we know Justin Fields is not playing well. And then you're starting to wonder whether or not he's going to be the right person to have a new quarterback on his hands, right? Because we're not expecting a one and done. So you need to figure out if Aaron Glenn is the real deal. So to me, that is the only thing that needs to happen for the Jets to have a successful season, to be honest.
The Jets can't pick a quarterback to save their lives in a draft. They've just got to hope that Justin Fields, someone else's cast-off, can actually become their guy. And to me, that it would be the successful season. And the real answer is, as long as Woody Johnson's owning the team, I don't know how successful you can be. But one thing I know that Woody Johnson does respond to, and that is stars.
Yep.
He's always looking for stars. He wants stars. If Justin Fields can become a star in his eyes, then I think everything else, maybe he kind of backs off and backs away just a little bit. And so to me, it's Justin Fields looks good. You look like you can compete in the AFC East, and Fields can become a star in New York, then maybe Woody backs off. That's the only thing you have. Because, I mean, the last time the Jets were successful, Rex Ryan, the great defense.
Yeah.
But even Rex burned out eventually.
But, man, can Justin Fields be a star in New York?
I think he can.
I mean, I'm pretty high.
He's actually coming in the perfect way.
I know.
Very low profile, under the radar. This is, if he can actually win and kind of stay sort of humble in that way, which he definitely can. He's been like that his whole career.
Yep.
Then I think that's somebody that New Yorkers will be drawn to. Okay, who's next, Manny?
We'll stay in the AFC. We'll go to Cincinnati. A successful season for the Bengals would be?
It's Super Bowl. I'm sick of downgrading the Bengals because, their defense has not been good. It's not like they haven't been spending draft picks on defense, though. I know the Trey Hendrickson thing is what's taking all the attention.
Yep.
They spend more top 100 draft picks on defense than maybe any other team. Now, they're paying the offensive guys, but they should be able to have these defensive guys take a step up. You got a new defensive coordinator, and you and I will disagree about this, EJ. Joe Burrow is a top tier 1 MVP, should be caliber quarterback with maybe the best receiver in football. Why we would put anything less than Super Bowl on these guys, I do not understand. I think it's grading on a curve that they don't deserve that curve. They should be a Super Bowl contender.
We're really off on this one. I say make the playoffs. I don't even think you have to really win a game, to be honest. Like, I've been saying that I think the Bengals are old news. This is a team that we're kind of living in 2021 with them being, one missed, false start and one Aaron Donald play from being Super Bowl champions. And besides that, not a whole lot in the last 3 years since. So to me, this has to be a back to form year. I think Super Bowl is too high for a team that has missed the playoffs the last few years. They've had injuries happen with their quarterback. Keep them healthy, get back to the playoffs. Make me be wrong. Like, if you really are not old news, go out there, make the playoffs, have big games, be a factor in the AFC. Then we could talk Super Bowl next season, because it's probably going to take 2 years to rebuild this defense, if we're being honest.
Who's next, Manny?
How about the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray? What would be a successful season for those out in the desert?
I think this is a sneaky playoff or bust team. I think make the playoffs is definitely a successful season. Anything less than that, I think, is a disappointment. Look, the NFC West is in a weird spot. The Niners are coming off this disastrous season. They actually, I think, swept the Niners last year. The Rams have Matthew Stafford, who has an epidural. We think his back's to be okay, but who are we to say? And the Seahawks are bringing in a new quarterback in Sam Darnold, and they've shifted a lot of things. They moved off from DK Metcalf. It feels like if there's going to be a chance for the Cardinals to make a move in this division, it's now. They were one of the sneaky, most improved teams in the NFL last year. They improved their win total from 4 to 8. And if you look at their stats in terms of where they ranked in the NFL in yards, touchdowns, both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
They were pretty good. They were about top 13, 14 in all offensive categories, about top 16, 17 in all defensive categories. This looks like a team that's on the rise. I don't think we think that way because everyone's so down on Kyler Murray, but considering where the division is, considering I think the decent job that Jonathan Gannon is doing, they have to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think it's playoff in the hunt. I think it has to be an in the hunt situation, but to me, successful season is you have to see Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. That's got to become a thing.
Okay.
Like that, I think Jonathan Gannon, even though he's a defensive guy, but I think he buys himself more time, and this thing gets to grow and keep going in the upward trajectory if those two look like they actually have a connection. You can't take a guy 4th overall pick as a wide receiver, as highly touted as he was, and have the type of season like his rookie year. It's got to look a lot better. We know Murray can get him the ball. So that, to me, that's going to be the success. Can those two look like the pair of the future? Okay, last
by the way,
one.
Trey McBride.
And Trey McBride's great, and one of the highest paid tight ends in the league.
Yeah.
They used to be the bottom of the division, the laughingstock of the division, and now they're not, much to my pain. The Washington Commanders, a successful season for the Commies would be?
Okay, so I'm going to go maybe a little to steal from Perloff against the grain on this one. To be successful, I don't think they have to get back to the NFC Championship game. I just think you have to get back to the playoffs.
Okay.
You can't have the fall-off season. It can't be, we had this amazing run, and now we're like a 7-win team, and we missed the playoffs, and it's like, oh, gosh, is Dan Quinn the right guy?
Right.
What is Bo Nix creeping up on Jaden Daniels, or is Drake May creeping up on Jaden Daniels as the best quarterback from this class?
Yep.
It's just got to be playoffs. That's it. To get back to the NFC title game, where I know a lot of people are thinking Super Bowl, I don't see that. I'm fading the Commanders in a lot of that way. Just get back to the playoffs. Prove that you're a real thing.
I'll be honest. It's not even a team success thing. I think making the playoffs would be successful, but I think it's more important about what's going on with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels has to avoid a sophomore slump. That's a successful season. If there are other issues that happen, right, where there are other injuries that cost them, or maybe Jaden misses 5 games and that costs them, or it's just a tough playoff race and they just miss out, I think that's okay. Like, I think that they were way ahead of their skis in terms of getting to the NFC Championship game last year. I don't think that they were a serious Super Bowl contender. And now they were in a weird spot this year where they kind of had to bring back a bunch of old guys that were there last year that played well. Like, I'm expecting some of those guys to not play as well. So if they take a step back as a team, that's fine as long as Jaden Daniels still looks like a future superstar. You can have a sophomore slump in terms of the team itself. Maybe Dan Quinn as a head coach with this team. I know obviously he coached in Atlanta. Jaden Daniels has to be removed from all of that. He can't be a part of the sophomore slump. That would be a successful season. Jaden Daniels still looks like a star in year 2.
There you go. So that was Washington, Arizona, Cincinnati, and the New York Jets. If you missed any part of that, you can always hit the rewind function on the Odyssey app. You can download the Maggie and Perloff podcast, which is available every single day. We should mention SiriusXM channel 375, our new channel, and on YouTube and Twitch and all of these amazing affiliates. Peter Schwartz is here with updates for us. Good morning.
Good morning. We'll start with some baseball, and the Brewers keep rolling.
Strider's 3-2 pitch. And this is a high fly ball out to right. White is back at the track. Bye-bye baseball. Blake Perkins, his 3rd hit of the night. He goes big fly to right. It's a 2-run home run. And the Brewers lead it 5-1.
That was Jeff Levering on Brewers Radio, and the Brewers win their 6th in a row. They beat the Braves 5-4. Now to New York, where Guardians pitcher Gavin Williams was 2 outs away from a no-hitter.
Gavin into the motion, the 1-0. Swung on, pounded, deep center field. Martinez, track, wall, leaps, it's off the wall. Karen's back toward the infield. And now the umpires are saying it hit the back wall. And Karen back onto the field, a home run.
That was Tom Hamilton, the Hall of Famer, on Guardians Radio. The Guardians beat the Mets 4-1. Gavin Williams, 8 2/3, 1 run, 1 hit, struck out 6, and walked 4. It was a bit of a controversy at Citi Field yesterday about this.
What's up?
Met fans gave Gavin Williams a standing ovation as he came out of the game after 8 2/3. So if you were a Mets fan sitting at Citi Field yesterday, do you respect what Gavin Williams did? Would you get up and cheer him, or are you sitting there miserable?
I just wonder if it was a little sarcastic. Like, do they clap because you didn't actually get the no-hitter? It got broken up. Maybe I don't know. I can't put myself in the Mets shoes, but I don't know if this was like a clapping, like, thank God, get this guy out of here.
I think they were mocking the Mets offense by applauding the starting pitcher.
It's funny because that's those two takes are not what I was seeing on social media. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Mets fans are clowns for giving the guy a standing ovation."
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Which
because
to me, I was like, "Yeah, that sounds clownish to me. How do you give a standing ovation to a guy on a great performance on your team, and especially when your team is struggling so much?" That made no sense. But if you're telling me, "Oh no, it was like." Oh, you got a hit and a home run. Congratulations, guys. You didn't get completely, utterly embarrassed. Then, yes, I'm for it. But if you're otherwise, no, you don't give the opponent a standing ovation for a great performance.
What if he had gotten the no-hitter, though?
Yeah, so
what if he had gotten the no-hitter?
The 30,000-foot view. If you get no hit by the opponent in your home stadium, do you give the standing ovation?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think you give the standing ovation then. But I mean, I think you definitely should give a. Do you like baseball? That's awesome. 8 1/3 without giving up a hit. I mean, I don't care if it's against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. If I see that guy walking off the mound, I'm gonna be. I love baseball. I'm gonna be like, all right, good job, buddy.
8 out of 9, and you're getting no hit when the talking point around the city is
I'm
your
sorry, I
poor
like
offense.
baseball. I guess I'm the only one that actually enjoys baseball here and can see things as a neutral fan.
Well, what happened here? What didn't this happen with Paul Skeens at the Cardinals when his rookie season, or maybe it was the second year? I think he went like 5 no-hit, like 5 shutout innings, and they gave him the standing ovation. We're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, no, 5 is the
second place trophy.
You can't be that, like, you can be good fans. Like, we're not trying to diss St. Louis, but it's just like, it's also a division rival.
Yeah, that's weird.
So personally, I do not give the standing ovation to someone who just no-hit my team. It happened to the Mets, obviously. Max Scherzer did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened a couple times. Max Scherzer did it famously when he was playing in the division as a member of the Braves. And it was Braves, right?
Nats.
Excuse
National.
me. So, and I'm not going to give a standing ovation to that.
Our friend Andrew Bogish had
Bogish, what are you bursting in like the Kool-Aid man? What's going on?
He had a press pass to yesterday's contest and has 2 cents. Has 2 cents on the almost no hitter.
Good morning, Bogues.
Thanks, Manny.
Man, you just couldn't stay away from us.
The standing ovation was 100% legit, for his performance. There was no sarcasm. There was no relief. It was just, that was a heck of a game, because it was unbelievable. He was dominant, Gavin Williams. As far as enjoying the no-hitter as a Met fan, that remains debatable. But the standing ovation by itself was just for the way he pitched. It was legitimate and it was honest.
All right. I mean, listen, you're sitting there, you're watching it all day. Do you? Wouldn't be me.
That's insane.
I'm too petty for that.
I'm sorry. That is insane to me, and that is clownish by the Mets fans. Like that you have some respect for yourself. I mean, you can't hit. You're lost 8 out of 9. Your team, your season is kind of getting a little bit off the rails here, and you're congratulating the other team for almost making this laughingstock of a month even worse. How is that?
But I could see it if he got the no-hitter. Like I could. Yeah. That's the only thing I would somewhat agree with Manny on, is that if you're at a game and you're seeing history, I could see, and it's not like I would go crazy. Yeah, way to go. It would be like a polite clap and everything because of a job well done. But not after he leaves the game and didn't get it done. Why are you cheering him?
Well, but there's no way you can't cheer him after the no-hitter. Like, the no-hitter happens, if he completes the no-hitter and the game is over, his team is on the field, they're jumping on each other, like, there is no time to do it. Like, that was a legitimate, I had no problem with it. I was surprised that it happened. But like as Manny smartly said, sometimes you just need to be a baseball fan. And that guy was on, the Mets flirted with 1 hit. There was 1 diving catch in right field. Everything else was right at a fielder, no effort to make it. He was dominant, and he threw 120 pitches.
Okay, so does this apply to other things? Like, someone comes into your arena, drops 50 on you. And then gets taken out of the game with 20 seconds on the clock. Manny, you're telling me all those times in the Garden when stars used to come in and drop 50 on your Knicks, you're going to stand and give them you're going to applaud James Harden?
They have.
Yeah, I've seen people drop a lot of points on the Knicks.
It's ludicrous.
Repeatedly.
I hate
ludicrous.
I hated it when it happened. Kobe dropped 60. I hated it. LeBron had the.
I was there for that.
Of course you were a Laker fan. When LeBron dropped the 50-point triple-double that they didn't took back, I hated it. Like, James Harden, I hate all of them. I don't know. To me, I'm rooting for my team, regardless of the situation, to have the ultimate success. If my team faces the ultimate embarrassment where they get dominated by the other team, I'm not cheering for that on any level. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be the great Kobe Bryant. It could be the great Max Scherzer. I don't care. It's never going to happen. Not ever, not once. No, not happening.
I also wonder how many casual fans are at Citi Field yesterday. The Mets are kind of happening in New York City right now. Of course, you have your hardcore Met fans like us, but how many of those fans yesterday day game were casuals just going there because it was a thing to do and they applauded the visiting pitcher?
Can't find the casuals in the Bronx.
Hey.
Because technically the team's Dallas
They
yesterday.
priced out the casuals. I'm sorry.
Put up on the poll, Manny. Do you applaud someone has a great performance in your home stadium, the opponent, that is? Peter, maybe time for one more little one? Tiny?
Let's do that. Red Sox sign outfielder Roman Anthony to an 8-year extension, reportedly worth $130 million. He had a lot of people to thank.
Just everyone along, my life who has helped me get to where I am today. There's a long list of people I could thank and a lot of people who aren't here right now. As we know, in this game, it takes a team, and it took a team to get this done.
And I could tell you right now, if he comes into Yankee Stadium, he gets 4 hits and 2 home runs, I am not cheering him.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, how far do you take this? Guy hits a grand slam,
No.
You going to cheer for him?
No.
And I get it. No hitters are a really big deal. I'm not taking away from that. It's just you do it on the road. I don't think you expect to get the ovation from the opposing crowd. But anyway, that's what we're going to leave it. You can go vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl on X. Do you cheer when an opponent has an all-time moment in your stadium? Coming up, we are giving out some awards. Who is going to have the biggest bounce-back season in college football? We'll tell you next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. EJ Stewart and the Pixies, both happening on the show right now. Okay, so let's give out some superlatives. Pearl's on vacation. Okay, we are going to predict some bounce-back seasons, okay, both on the college side and on the professional side. Let's start with college first, EJ. Sure. A bounce-back season, who do you have in the college ranks?
It's going to be a little predictable as a Miami fan, but I'm going to go to Carson Beck. It's like we forget Carson Beck can play football, given just the dialogue around him. Yeah. Like when he was picked up by Miami, and there was a lot of this negativity, and to a certain degree, some of it from me, because even I was like, oh man, Carson Beck, like this guy was supposed to be #1 pick, and he really flamed out last season. Then you look at the numbers, and you look at the success he had, even last season in what was a quote-unquote bad year for Carson Beck. You're still looking at like 26 touchdowns, 12 picks, one of the highest QB efficiency ratings in all of college football. Him and I believe Haynes King are the only two guys with back-to-back top 30 college football efficiency seasons, QB efficiency seasons that are going to be starting this year. He's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He may not be the #1 pick kind of good, right, but he's good enough, I think, to lead Miami to maybe another double-digit win season. We'll see if they can get to the playoff. But I think all the negativity around Carson Beck on the field, off the field, what happened with the Cavender twin, I think some of that's going to get put aside when Miami starts winning some football games. So I'm going to say Carson Beck has a bounce back year. Maybe not first round pick NFL, but maybe we were talking about him as a day 2 guy.
For me, it's going to go to a team more than to one player. If you're asking me who's going to have a bounce back season in college football, I'm going to go to the Utes, coming off of a 5-7 season. And part of it is because of the changes they've made to the team. So you bring in fantastic quarterback Devin Dampier, but he was on the FC New Mexico, not Power 4.
FCS.
And they bring a new offensive coordinator, and they have 2 All-American tackles. Like, this offense is going to look completely different than it has for a long time. This is like a pro-style offense that's now going to be more of an RPO, spread-them-out offense. And in the Big 12, I think, I'm not saying anyone can have a bounce-back season, but this is the conference. If you are going to have a great year, and if you are going to, turn around your fortunes, the Big 12 is the place to do it. And I love that about the Big 12. Same. I like the parity. I like the fact that Arizona State was picked last in the conference last year and ends up winning the whole thing. I think that's cool about college football. when it's all predictable and it's going to be, Georgia and it's going to be Alabama, to me, that's not as fun. I like the fact that these teams can turn things around. Is this going to be Kyle Whittingham's last season? Yeah. He's already picked his successor. There's just a lot of really cool things to look at when it comes to Utah. So to me, that's going to be my bounce back team.
It was surprising that Utah was so bad last year, or just so not in the picture.
Well, the Cam Rising thing hung along for a little too long.
And it didn't seem like they had a real serious plan behind him, so that was a problem. So, yeah, I think Utah could be a team that makes a bounce back. Big 12 is completely unpredictable.
Okay, as for the NFL, who is going to be the bounce back candidate for you this year?
Oh, get ready, Cowboys fans. Dak Prescott, bounce back year. And again, we got to compare it to what he did last season, which was a lot of mid-play and then an injury that ended his season. The bar is extremely low for what Dak Prescott has to do to put together a quote-unquote bounce-back season. But I think he'll be healthy. He has now another weapon in George Pickens, who can be a little out there, let's say.
A little.
A little maybe, but has a lot of talent. Now is not going to have a lot of the responsibility he had in Pittsburgh, where he was asked to be a number one receiver. That takes a lot of maturity, takes a lot of patience, things that this guy just doesn't have. Now he's asked to be a number two, and he won't have defenses all geared to stop him. Dak Prescott, 2 star receivers, I think a healthier season. I think that Prescott has a bounce back year, especially playing for a coach in Brian Schottenheimer, who he likes. I don't know why he likes him. I don't like him very much.
Here's the one thing, though, about Dak. I'll give you my bounce-back player in just a moment. The one thing that helps Dak Prescott the most is when they actually do have a run game. Yeah. And the Cowboys are a team that love to tell you that they always want to commit to the run. Sure. And then you look at what they actually do in terms of the running back talent, and it doesn't look like they want to commit to the run. They've got 4 guys on the depth chart, none of whom, are really going to blow your hair back. Yep. They could have gotten Derrick Henry, decided not to do that. And so I just wonder if they're going to be real pass happy because of George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. So Dak could have big numbers, but is it going to be balanced? And are they going to become predictable?
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're asking me who's going to have a bounce back season in the NFL, give me Trevor Lawrence, another guy who was injured last year, only played 10 games.
Yep.
New coach, so now he's on his 3rd head coach. I hope this one sticks for him.
Duval.
Yikes. Yeah. Every time you play that, I'm like, oh, man. But I still believe in Trevor Lawrence. I just don't think this is the last we've heard of him. He was so good in college, so good in high school, so good in college. At some point, we are going to see it. We've seen flashes. We saw the big comeback win over the Chargers in the playoffs, although that feels like a really long time ago. I can't quit this guy. I just think he's going to end up being maybe more of a late bloomer rather than a has-been or a never was. So, he's got Travis Hunter now to take a little of the attention away from him, maybe take a little of the pressure off. This is not a terrible roster by any stretch. So, to me, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence with the bounce-back season and a winnable division.
Yeah, and I think Travis Hunter is going to be a difference maker immediately. I think Brian Thomas is one of the more underrated players in the entire NFL. That guy is a dude. But schedule's a little weird, right? You got to play against the AFC West.
They don't have to do the 2 weeks in London, though, this year, right?
No, 2 weeks
only
in London,
one.
So that helps them a little bit. But the AFC West is tricky. They got to play the NFC West as well. Those teams are also pretty decent. So Jaguars, one of the more fascinating teams this year. Nobody's really talking about them, but I'm curious to see what they do this year.
Bounce back season for you, 888-710-4ISN. Big Friendly on the horn from California. Friendly, we got about a minute for you, pal. How you been?
I've been good. Real quick, I do non-emergency and medical transportation. I don't go to strip clubs. I don't go to nightclubs. I'm too old to shop at Sam's Club.
Yes, better clear that up.
Okay. And by the way, out of context, that's one of the greatest calls of all time.
Real quick. I don't know if you heard the news, but there's something going on right now that Aaron Donald has made a statement that if the Rams acquire Michael Parsons, he's thinking about coming out of retirement. I feel he should come out anyway, but what is your guys' opinion on it? Have a great day. I'll call back tomorrow.
Friendly, you're the man.
Big Friendly, thank you.
Appreciate you calling in, pal. Is that true? Did you say that he would come out of retirement?
Yeah, he posted on Instagram.
Okay.
Thanks for a comment.
Can Aaron Donald play quarterback? Because have we seen whether or not the guy can throw the ball? Because that's what the biggest issue for the Rams is. Not their defense. Not their defense. Yeah, too much muscle. The question for the Rams is the fact that Matthew Stafford has to get an epidural, And as I can say rather confidently, as the only person who's had an epidural
It's not
on
that bad.
this show, not what you want.
It's pretty terrible.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but have you ever gotten a paper cut?
Yes, Manny, you tell me what real pain is about.
A paper cut. How can you bring paper on a plane? Things are sharp.
Yeah. Quarterback's getting an epidural, and he's not pushing out a baby. He's trying to play 17 games of professional football plus the playoffs. Color me skeptical. It's Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Empower. Invest well so you can live a little at empower.com. This is Maggie.
Donald Rose, riding high on the M&P feed. Donald Rose, living that sports fan fantasy. Let the techno ride and the high take spin. Rose, always ready when the show begins.
He lost the techno, but he won the dawn. Donald Rose, forever subscribed. Infinity Sports, countdown complete.
Maggie Perloff. Countdown begins at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rose, he's live on the line to show every thought, every sports headline. From sunrise takes to the YouTube flow, he's pumping that beat from Infinity Show. Eyes wide open, countdown sound that sends hits deep like a goal line pound. He don't just watch, he feels the track. When M&P speak, he's got their back.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
We're about to see something this upcoming NFL season that we've never seen before. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray. Andrew Perloff's on vacation today. EJ Stewart is sitting in for Pearl. And, you know, EJ, we watched him in college. We watched him win the Heisman. And it's Travis Hunter who insists that he is going to have a pretty full workload playing both offense and defense for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got the Shohei Ohtani of football. It's going to be very fun. Not even something that Deion Sanders, his mentor and maybe de facto like parent, you know, didn't really do. You know, Deion did not play a full schedule on offense when he was, you know, Hall of Fame cornerback in his NFL career. I've always been dubious of this.
Yeah.
And I've always been skeptical. For as much as I'd like to see it, it's going to be fun. Sure. But how can you possibly pull this off? And I know this is not you. This is Perloff, who's usually sitting in your chair saying, you play, you know, he's going to play fewer snaps even than college. You know, he's not going to have to tackle very much.
Yeah, cornerbacks don't get hurt is something I think we heard once.
Yes, I think Pearl did once say cornerbacks don't get hurt, which is hilarious.
It's funny because you root for Trey White. Just wanted to say that. It's pretty interesting.
I know Tre'Davious White for the Buffalo Bills has gotten hurt a million different ways. But here's the thing. It's not just skeptics like me who are coming out of the woodwork. And I'd like to point out Davante Adams. We've all heard of him. Amazing wide receiver who's now with the Rams. He was on the Pivot podcast. And while he said he would love to watch Travis Hunter play on both sides of the ball, raking a haircut 3, he said the workload compared to those who play just offense and special teams, he sees how crazy that is, let alone playing offense and defense.
I don't even think it's possible to do for real, not at a high level, and then go in there. It's hard enough to go cover a punt and then be on, you know, one side, you know, and I haven't done it. I'm not acting like I'm on kickoff or a punt, but I see the dudes and I know, you know, you got your guys and you see the yardage of my yardage over the game versus somebody that starts on offense and then plays special teams as well. Like, that's just a lot of mileage.
Yeah, he's talking about the trackers that they wear so they can see literally how much they're running during a game. And he's saying the guys who are just on punt returns and then going out to play one side of the ball, how crazy that is. More from Davante Adams, wondering if Travis Hunter decides to do this, how long is his career going to be?
And I don't know how long. I'm not even concerned so much if he can do it over the course of a game or a season. It's more like how long is his career going to be if he's playing that many snaps? Because all you're doing is doubling your risk for injury, one. Right. And I don't wish any of that on him. I hope that he can play an injury-free season and go ball out. But, I mean, it's just the reality. The more you're on the field, it's already 100% injury guarantee. Yeah. You know, once you get out there playing both sides, and now you got to tackle. Yep. You got to tackle Derrick Henry with that frame.
I mean, I hope he's not out there trying to tackle Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
but
that's not good for the Jaguars.
No, that wouldn't be great. But I think this is the one thing, and I'm glad Davante Adams said this because it makes me think a couple things. Yeah. Number one, you know, who does Travis Hunter really have in his ear? Because it's funny to me, if Deion still has any kind of real like impact over Travis Hunter, he should be discouraging him from doing this. Because what Davante Adams is saying there, if you cut your career short, just think about how much money you're leaving off the table.
Right.
You get paid a ton if you're a great corner. You get paid a ton if you're a great wide receiver. You just have to be one of those, and you could be making multiple contracts. We're talking about multiple bites of the apple here. If you are just playing, you know, if you're trying to accomplish this thing, you'll burn bright, but you might burn out.
Yeah.
So who's in his ear who's telling him, listen, I know you're going for immortality on this. It could not be worth it, because I don't think that he's ever going to get what Shohei Ohtani got, which is Shohei got paid like a pitcher and a hitter together.
Interesting.
They factored that in. I think that's how you got. I think that's how he got to $700 million.
No question.
And then Juan Soto got $765, and it got silly and stupid. But it was almost like, I'm paying you as a great hitter and I'm paying you as a great pitcher together. Travis Hunter's not making more money because he's playing more snaps. At least I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think if he does it long enough, I guess you get your first contract, probably year 4?
Could be year 3 if you're really good.
If you're really good. Like, I think if he really does a great job at being both ways, could he become the highest paid non-QB in the NFL? Definitely. And maybe there's a situation where, given where he is just as a receiver and just as a cornerback, that he would not get that money. So I think the money may be there for him in the short term. Now, I think there's a question about the long term, which I think is real. And I think you make a good point. And I think Davante makes a good point. But the question I ask is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be, Champ Bailey? Or do you want to be Bo Jackson? And I know it's a little bit apples and oranges because Bo Jackson played a different sport, but that's the closest thing we have, right? Where a guy did 2 different things at an elite level. And Bo Jackson had a very short career.
Right.
He still made a lot of money in the time that he played, partly because he had 2 salaries from different leagues.
Yeah, baseball and football.
But also, he now has and enjoys this immortal status that almost no other athlete has. Like you say Bo Jackson, you say Bo, you all know what you're talking about. You know what that means. Like, Champ Bailey is one of the greatest corners of all time, and we never talk about Champ Bailey, right? So the reality is, and sometimes even great receivers, Torrey Holt's begging to get in the Hall of Fame. Like, how many guys they're still waiting years and years to get the recognition they deserve as Hall of Famers. So I think for Travis Hunter, I think that he's looking at this similar to Shohei Ohtani, where we have this conversation about why is he pushing the pitch so much. He's not chasing being just the best corner. He's facing this immortality type status that I respect. I don't think it's going to work out for him. I keep saying that. The only way he's a bust, I think, is if he does try to do this. Because I think that he's going to get hurt. I also don't know if he's going to have the kind of growth he's going to need at either position to become the player he wants to be and to reach his full potential. But the attempt is respectable, and I get wanting to reach that immortal status.
Okay. We're talking about Travis Hunter, obviously. I'm going to take this to a place, follow me here.
Yep.
I remember once Floyd Mayweather said, they wondered, why don't you, why do you want to box in the Olympics? Why don't you want to box in the Olympics? And he said, because I can't eat gold medals. I looked up Bo Jackson's career earnings, and his estimated net worth is $25 million. Now, that's a lot. I'm not turning up my nose, especially for when he was playing. But can I just point to Sauce Gardner, who just signed a contract with your New York Jets, who got $120.4 million with $60 million of it guaranteed, and that's just the first contract. So I understand what you're saying. Champ Bailey does not get the same recognition as Bo Jackson, but does Bo Jackson, what is that really earning him now? Is it anywhere close to what he could have gotten if he just focused on one sport, never got hurt, and played for 15 years, right? And, I hope you understand what I'm saying about that, right?
Yeah.
To have the longer career, what ultimately is going to serve you the best at the end of the day? Is it the legend of you? And to be honest, I think Nike made the most off of Bo Jackson than anybody. I don't know if you guys weren't alive for the Bo Knows campaign, but it was huge.
I was.
But what serves you better, to be that legend and be that immortal, or to leave the game with as much guaranteed money as you possibly can get by having multiple contracts?
And that's where we have the question about what motivates Travis Hunter. Because what we heard during the pre-draft situation, which I found completely ridiculous, was this idea that he'd rather retire than not play both ways. He wouldn't want to play for a team that drafted him.
So he says, but yes, he did say that.
Yeah, I mean, he said that. And, he seems to be one of those kids that, and I say kid, but he's a young man. He seems one of the young men that, speaks from the heart. This is not a lot of PR spin. This is not, I'm going to, quote unquote, PR you to death in these comments. I think he's just telling you how he feels. And I think this is something that is, it is his identity.
Yeah.
I think it's his identity, not just as a football player, as a person. He's taken this and really made it his thing. So if they take that away from him, he's going to go crazy, it sounds like. Okay. And I think with this thing, when we talk about the money and the earnings, I agree with all of it. I just think for him, he's not going to be happy doing that. And I don't think that he's going to accept anything else. Now, the question becomes, if you're an organization, are you going to be able to handle having to maybe have a tough conversation with him down the road, being like, hey, listen, you did this, but you're getting hurt, blah, blah, blah. We got to move you to corner. We got to move the wide receiver. Will you have the organizational stability to withstand whatever thunderstorm comes after that?
It's a great point. We're talking about Travis Hunter. And a question here for the audience. Think about your own career. Would you rather burn bright but have it be shorter, right? A shorter career, like say Travis Hunter can only play 7 seasons or something like that, but he's able to do it his way, playing both ways, or would you rather have the long, sustained career? The one where maybe you are getting multiple bites at the apple in terms of big contracts and stuff like that, but maybe you aren't as remembered as, you're not making top 100 lists or you're not, getting invited to the celebrity golf tournament or what have you. 888-710-4ISN.
And real quickly, Maggie, one thing you mentioned earlier was Deion. I think that's a very important point.
Who's in his ear, I asked. If Davante Adams said about Travis Hunter, he doesn't understand how he can play both sides of the ball, and because it's 100% injury rate in the NFL, and he, how can he stay healthy? And that's where I wonder who's in his ear giving him advice on what to do.
I find that part of this one of the most fascinating things. I find this one of the most fascinating, not talked about storylines of the Coach Prime saga. Where is Deion when it comes to Travis Hunter? NFL draft, nowhere to be found.
Well, now he was dealing with health issues.
Well,
Deion was.
We learned that, so that solved some things, but it feels like there's been somewhat of a distance thing between Travis Hunter and the Sanders clan. So much so that people have mentioned it, and I think Deion Jr. finally responded to a fan that said, you guys don't rock with Travis anymore. I think said the people behind the scenes know why this is not happening, which we didn't know. Maybe that was Deion's health thing, but did Deion tell Travis he was battling cancer? I don't know. Like, he didn't tell
Shedeur.
Didn't tell Shiloh, so that seems like that doesn't make sense. And Travis very famously, like the other kids, Deion's their quote-unquote agent. He is Young Money. Lil Wayne is his agent.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne was on ESPN SportsCenter yesterday talking about Travis Hunter. And Lil Wayne may be the person that's in his ear. Lil Wayne was at the Heisman ceremony. He was the only other guy besides his now wife and, of course, Deion and Shedeur that were there. Maybe this is a Lil Wayne thing. If we're bringing entertainment value into this,
right?
We're talking about being, again, immortal, being bigger than football. If Lil Wayne's the guy that's in his ear, talk about someone who could do multiple things. If Lil Wayne tried to do a rock album, right? Like, this is where this gets interesting in terms of what his future lies. Because if he is listening to Young Money and he's listening to Lil Wayne, that could be why he's pushing this thing so far too. Because Deion, he played the NFL. He tried to do two ways. And he had to basically be only like an offensive gadget player. He couldn't be an every down offensive player. I think that this may be a Young Money Lil Wayne push that no one's really kind of seeing that. But when I saw Lil Wayne on SportsCenter yesterday talking about Travis Hunter, I was like, oh, this is the guy that's in his ear right now.
A quick thing that I'd like to jump in on. I think what the Jaguars are doing, and they benefit from being the Jacksonville Jaguars, is that they can allow Travis Hunter to play himself into reality. I don't think they want to put too much negativity next to his name as far as, you're not going to do this right now. Oh, you want to play both sides? Okay, kid, you'll figure out really quickly that you cannot do this, and then he'll land as a gadget player that you mentioned with Deion,
right?
Which is the most realistic outcome.
They don't want to crush his dreams. They want to seem supportive, stuff like that. It's a great point. I was thinking also, like, you're going to have your welcome to the NFL moment, right? Everyone does, whether you're awesome or whether you're a bench warmer. And I'm sure he's going to get that. You just hope it's not devastating to the point of it actually, like sidetracks or derails his career. We're talking about Travis Hunter, Davante Adams saying, this is just, it's going to shorten your career if you are trying to play both sides of the ball. He said, let alone getting through a game or a season healthy, you're going to put a cap on your career if he's going to try to attempt to do this thing. Now, I was today years old when I just realized that Lil Wayne is the one who's representing Travis Hunter. Gonna be honest, I did not know that. I probably would have put that in my argument.
Because Dwayne Carter in the legal documents.
Well, it's just funny to me because the last time I saw Lil Wayne, I didn't see him on SportsCenter yesterday, but that he went to go visit Deion.
Yes.
And I don't know what they were talking about because none of that really made it onto the video. But maybe it was about it's about Deion's health. I'm sure he wanted to come check on him. But also, I think maybe it was about Travis. And there was a little bit made that Deion was not at Travis Hunter's wedding.
Yes.
But now we know Deion was dealing with, stomach cancer. Like, you got a total pass, 100%, real life. Does Lil Wayne have he's got a lot of clients?
Yeah, I mean, Young Money sports is a real thing. Like, it's kind of like, I think, inspired by what Jay-Z was doing with Rock Nation sports, representing clients. And Lil Wayne, I mean, I think he was one of the first celebrities to really embrace the Colorado program. Like, he was there, I think, the first home game. He may have performed a concert there that weekend. Like, he's been all about it when it came to Colorado, Deion, and I think it was interesting that as soon as it became a situation, Lil Wayne jumped right on being able to be Travis Hunter's agent. I think, Travis Hunter, I think, told he made his wife listen to Lil Wayne because he had never heard of him, and she was like, "You're gonna sit down, and you're gonna listen to Lil Wayne for the next however many hours."
God.
Like, he is
that's terrifying.
Yeah, and apparently, he's a huge fan of Lil Wayne, which that makes it interesting when you're a fan of your agent. That kind of concerns me a little bit, but
makes you a mark.
He's working for you.
Right,
the agent works for you. I'm just trying to find out who some of his other clients are. It's a little tough to find out.
Spotrac has a page. I mean, Andrew Beck, Arian Smith, Ezekiel Turner, Dakota Shepley, Keandre Lambert-Smith. That do anything for you?
Yeah.
R.J. Mickens, a couple of the NFL players that are signed to Young Money APAA Sports.
This is going to be a thing. Like, Travis Hunter is, I think, going to be like a massive star. Lil Wayne is a massive star. And when we get to contract negotiations and opportunities off the field, I think this situation is going to be one that's going to be brought about more. Again, the fact that Lil Wayne was making appearances on SportsCenter to talk about Travis Hunter just this week alone told me that this is a story that's not really being talked about. A lot of people don't even know, that I think is interesting, because you mentioned that Deion really took in Travis almost as if it was like a fourth son, right?
Yeah.
Like, he kept saying, Travis was my son. And then what we kept seeing, Travis and his team had done a lot of work to try to get his dad out of prison and get his dad back into his life. And I thought that was interesting, because I, for a while, didn't know if Travis Hunter's dad was still alive or what was going on, because Deion kind of really took him in as his own. You don't see that quite as much. Again, Deion's dealing with some serious health issues, and thank God that he's feeling better. But now that we're in a different universe where Travis' dad is now involved and Lil Wayne is now leading the charge, I wonder if Deion has really any influence on what's going on with Travis Hunter now. He seems totally removed from the Colorado situation.
And would you rather have a career that burns bright but is short, or something longer and sustained? I should mention Deion, bladder cancer. I said stomach cancer before. Bladder cancer, but he is cancer-free now, according to his doctors. And so that's a great thing. We'll see how the season goes. I can't imagine that's going to be very easy, but he's determined to do it. So questions there about Travis Hunter. Okay, 888-710-4ISN. Lots to do, including, we haven't talked about the Raiders yet. Man, I love talking about the Raiders. And some new comments from head coach Pete Carroll. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. EJ Stewart in for Andrew Perloff, taking a much-deserved vacation for the next couple days. We are asking you a question today. Would you rather have a career that burns really bright but is short, or a really long career? And the reason why we're bringing this up is because of Travis Hunter, who is going to attempt to play both offense and defense for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Davante Adams, the all-pro wide receiver, said recently on the Pivot podcast, he hopes he can do it, but it's going to shorten his career because the injury rate in the NFL, as he says, is 100%. And he said he sees guys who even try to just be on special teams and do, punt returns and then go out and play offense, and he sees the wear and tear on their bodies, let alone playing offense and defense. Chris is in Lexington, Kentucky. Chris, what do you think about it?
Hey, Maggie, good morning. Great show, you and EJ. As soon as you brought this question up, Maggie, here's what first thing came to my mind. It's Tiger Woods. And I'll give you a little backstory. I've been following him since he was a teenager, and I read a lot about him. And the violent swing that he, the club head speed in his prime, Maggie, that he created, and the stress that he put on his body. And so many of his coaches wanted him to kind of back off that a little bit, and he refused. 2008 U.S. Open. I just watched that replay the other day. It's a great watch, by the way, Tiger versus Rocco.
Yep.
And we won the biggest tournament in our country, but probably the hardest in the world, on a broken leg. Doctors pleaded with him. He said, no, I'm playing. I'm winning this tournament. And what does he do? He wins it. So my thing is, by the time he's 32, he's got 14 majors. I would much rather have Tiger's career now. Obviously, the infidelity derailed him a little bit, but ultimately it was all of the injuries and the surgeries that caught up to him. And, by the time he had to redo his swing, yes, but it was 11 years between majors, Maggie. And so for me, for those 12, 13 years to watch the most amazing golf I've ever seen in my life, I'd rather have that than have this elongated career.
Yeah, Chris, it's a fair point. If you want to be Travis Hunter in this instance and you want to have like a 7-year career, but you're remembered as an all-time, like you did an immortal thing, and you're, in a Mount Rushmore situation of like greatest athletic achievements, that's fine. The one thing about Tiger versus Travis, there's like a brain health issue,
Sure,
Travis out there.
definitely.
Listen, Tiger at some point, his back, all of those things look like he couldn't walk. He's fused. He got into the car accident. It's a little bit different. But, Travis is taking a lot more risk just because it's your brain. Yeah. But fair point from Chris.
It is, right, because Tiger Woods is like the ultimate, like,
what
shine bright, but like fell a little short of what you would have hoped because his body broke down. But Tiger Woods is iconic. To me, it doesn't make him any less iconic that he has not, and I don't think ever will, catch Jack.
No.
Like, it just nothing changes about who he is as a star. What changed him is stuff he did off the golf course, quite frankly, that changed anything about him. But it had nothing to do with whether or not he got hurt, whether or not he didn't reach Jack. Like, none of those things matter because he was so dominant at the time. And again, that's the thing that Travis Hunter, I don't even want to say wrestles with, because I think he's made his decision. I think he has made a decision that I don't care what the health risk is. Like, I know I'm capable of doing this. And if I do this, I am one of one.
So one other small difference about why we're asking, would you rather have like a really short career that burns bright or maybe a longer career? Tiger also is his own team.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have to answer to anyone else. His sponsors, sure, but Travis Hunter is part of a team.
Yeah.
And, if you are signing on to Jacksonville and you're here with a young Trevor Lawrence and you have Brian Thomas and you have like a fan base that is rooting for, yes, you, but also the jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any part of you that owes it to the team to say, hey, I want to be here for the next 10, 15 years and help this become a dynasty or whatever your lofty goals are? Tiger didn't have to answer to anyone. He's his own company. Travis is part of the team.
And it's
you
funny.
have to, at some point, do what's best for everybody, not just yourself.
Definitely. I think that's why, when Ray mentioned the Jaguars, that was one of the things I wanted to mention, too, about this. And, I love TK, Tony Khan, and, like I said, what he does with AEW. But
guest on the show many times.
It is interesting to me. Like, this seems extreme that he's going to try to do this. I have been against him trying to do this. I would feel better about him doing this if he was doing this, for the 49ers. If he was doing this for the Chiefs. If he was doing this for your Bills. If he was doing this for an organization that I have confidence in terms of them understanding the risk, understanding they're not going to put him in a dangerous situation, or if things get hairy, that they'll be able to talk him off the ledge to get him to understand that maybe it's not best for the team for him to do this. I just cannot have that confidence in the Jacksonville Jaguar organization, which this is what worries me about this, is I wonder if a better organization would have ever even signed up for this. I think the Jaguars are in a position where they just need that talent. They don't really care what the situation is. Like, they're a team that is talented. Like, it's not like they have no players, but like they're definitely looking for a difference maker. And who are they to tell Travis Hunter what to do? Which is what Perloff says all the time. To that point, I kind of agree. It's like, they're the Jaguars. Like, they just need to get out of the doldrums and make sure they can make sure their other generational talent, Trevor Lawrence, lives up to his potential. But do I trust the Jaguars?
Well, there's no reason to trust
this
them.
journey. I can't.
No, there's no reason to trust them. They have not earned that trust, quite frankly. But at some point, like, you are signing the checks. Like, you do have a say if you are the team. 888-710-4ISN. Peter Schwartz is here with all the latest. We'll get to the Raiders in just a little bit. But what do you got, Pete?
We'll start with some baseball, and we'll begin in Washington, where the A's and Nationals were tied at 1 in the ninth.
Kelly ready. He kicks and deals. Abrams, a looping line drive, shallow left. That's going to fall for a hit. Hassel's being waved in. The throw to the plate from Soderstrom on 2 bounces. Gets off the glove of the catcher. Hassel scores, and the Nationals win.
Dave Jagler on Nationals Radio, and the Nationals beat the A's 2-1. Now to Colorado, where the Blue Jays continue to pound out the hits and the runs.
I mean, this is getting ridiculous. I do have to admit that. But at the same time, who's going to give up an at-bat? Nobody wants to give up an at-bat.
Well, nobody wants to give up an at-bat. What do I say? Back-to-back and belly-to-belly. Ernie Clement with a solo bomb. It's 20-1.
I don't know who that was on Blue Jays radio because it wasn't labeled, but didn't he steal John Sterling's back-to-back and belly-to-belly line?
Literally just putting it in a Google search right now. Who was the original back-to-back belly-to-belly? I thought it was John Sterling.
I thought it was too.
Well, I mean, it could be an homage.
Yeah, can you pay homage? That's a good question.
In a game that doesn't include the Yankees?
Oh, that's a good point. And it's 20-1.
I think it's harder to pay homage when you do the same job. I feel like that's, unless you're going to say, as the great John Sterling would say.
Yeah.
Like, if I do that in radio, I always reference whoever I'm talking about. Now, if I'm referencing a rapper or I'm referencing a wrestler or something, and I'm doing radio, I don't feel like I have to make that reference. That's clearly an homage to me. But if you do the same job that John Sterling did, I think you have to reference it, no?
Oh, man. When does homage become just outright theft?
Yeah.
Right now.
Right
Because
there.
he's retired and he thinks he can get away with it.
He's definitely not getting. Well, I don't know who it is getting away. I mean, is he? Yeah, I don't know. Can he just now pretend that's his thing because John is retired? Now I don't know about this one.
I'd say you can't do it.
I'm trying to think if I have another instance of his.
I think if you wanted to do a catchphrase or whatever it is, I think, and the person was retired, I think you would have to call that person up and say, is it okay if I use your line?
Okay, so Mike Breen has talked about this, that he actually didn't come up with bang.
Yeah, you told me.
Yes, he got it from somebody else, and I don't know if he asked that person for credit for it.
I also think there's a little bit of if you steal it from a legend, you definitely have to reference it. Like if Mike Breen, like he stole it from just some, I don't want to say just some guy. But
yeah, I forgot who he stole from.
Some loser at Fordham named Andrew Bogish.
The timeline on that would be a little fishy, but sure.
The sliding doors of what Bogus' career would be if he had bang, right? No, but like to me, like he did it with contemporary, like someone who was also maybe he heard whatever. That's different, I think, than like stealing it from an icon, which is what John Sterling is in radio, sports radio, definitely, obviously, play-by-play. That's different to me. I don't know. Not that stealing is bad. I wouldn't want to steal from anybody. Be original. But I think it's worse to do it when it's clearly like that's a thing that another legend does.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how much theft probably goes on in that business. You know?
Well, how many times can you make up something new to say about a home run, right? Or even a back-to-back home run?
Think about it. Every time someone says from downtown, you think of Marv Albert immediately.
And nobody gives Marv credit. You don't credit Marv Albert on that every single time. That's true. It's going to just become a thing. Does every time a football announcer goes boom, do they just be like, as John Madden would say?
Boom.
I feel like they
style.
I feel like I've heard. I mean, maybe John recently passed, so
yeah. I
think you've heard it more. I think in recent years, like, "Oh, the great John Madden would say whatever." Like I've heard that. I feel like.
Do people say you're looking live, just like Brett Musburger again in the Hall of Fame?
I've done some college hockey play-by-play, and not that it's a flat-out steal. And I've talked about it on the air when I've done it because growing up a huge Islanders fan, Jiggs McDonald is my favorite broadcaster of all time.
Yeah,
hands down. And there are some things from his calls that I kind of weed in. But I've made no bones about that, how much he has meant to me in my career. So I think if you are open about it,
right?
And I've talked to him about it too. Like I sent him tapes of me calling the games. I'm like, I hope you're okay if I used a couple of your things. And he said, fine, no problem. He was actually honored about it. But I think if you just flat out steal it without talking to the person who you took it from.
And it's funny, you mentioned the looking live thing. You know who does do looking live? Michael Cole. For WWE.
Oh, he took that from Musburger?
He does that a lot for PLEs. He says, you are looking live. And I was like, wow. But same thing. He's doing wrestling. I think it becomes like, oh, that's clearly an homage. Because this is not right. This is not football. This is not, I know I'm a wrestling fan, so forgive me, wrestling fans. This is not a quote unquote real sport. So it's entertainment. It's different.
By the way, where do you place Michael Cole in the history of wrestling play-by? I was just talking to somebody about this the other day Because if there's like a Mount Rushmore of wrestling
I'm sorry, Peter, that is not on the rundown. We'll get to that.
He just
another
brought
time.
up the name. I just thought I would ask about
You said
it.
Michael Kors?
Michael Cole is a compiler. He's not one of the greatest.
Compiler. Okay. What else we got for
Let's go to the Red Sox. They sign outfielder Roman Anthony to an 8-year contract extension, reportedly worth $130 million. He is excited to get the deal wrapped up.
It's truly just a special place to play and a special place to show up every single day. So I couldn't be more excited for this and couldn't be more thankful for everyone in this room and everyone who's helped me get here today.
So can I say something? I'm not a Red Sox hater at all. I don't have like a rivalry there. Fenway is one of the most beautiful places.
Love it. It is.
Incredible ballpark.
Yeah.
I respect the history, all of that stuff. But he's talking so glowingly about this, and we just know there's going to be a moment with people calling into sports talk radio at some point during his career, being like, "He's a bum. Get him out of here." It's like this. It happens in New York, happened in Philly, this happened in Chicago, it happened in some cities where at some point they're going to turn on him.
Yeah.
No one ever. Maybe Big Poppy, probably the only guy who got out of Boston. Ted Williams, unscathed. But at some point, there's going to be some guy who sounds like Mark Wahlberg calling into Boston Sports Talk Radio to say, get Roman Anthony out of the drop him to the
1 for 21.
Yeah.
From your lips to God's ears.
It's not going to be soon, man. He's still going to torture you for a while.
Typical Sox.
Getting closer, getting warmer. Yeah.
It's hard with a New York accent to do the Boston accent. It really is.
They don't mix.
ESPN's acquired.
Sox.
ESPN.
We're getting further away, actually.
Has acquired NFL Network and Red Zone from the NFL. Commissioner Roger Goodell says the NFL will continue to produce Red Zone.
I think this is just going to make the experience for our fans even better as we evolve this relationship. And it's something when we see the innovation that ESPN always has and how we've grown together over the years and decades. This is really exciting for our fans.
I just can't stand the sound of his voice. I really can't. I can't. I just, it like turns my stomach.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going to ask this honestly. Can you improve on Red Zone? I don't know if you do. It feels if you like that kind of thing, some people don't like it. You don't want to switch around all different games. If you are into Red Zone, I think it's close to the perfect product. I don't know how ESPN would be able to make this any better. I just hope they don't mess with it too much, and it doesn't sound like they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only I don't know if I would do this, but maybe the only improvement would be maybe if you put Scott Hansen, whoever that anchor is, with another color analyst. So when you're going between games, maybe you have someone who could point out things that are happening. If they're not going to go to the actual games, which Scott Hansen will do sometimes,
right?
He's just kind of calling it whatever is going on, especially late in games. Maybe that's something where
or do you want a color analyst with him? Do you want Scott Hansen taking you around all these different games on Red Zone, but then also a little Dan Orlovsky to give you the opinion in the moment too?
Yeah, I think maybe that would be the only the only thing I think that would make it
you want
better.
a fantasy person in there because I think most of the people who are watching the Red Zone aren't. Because if you're a diehard fan of a team, you're not watching Red Zone. You're watching your team playing. So I think if you're watching Red Zone, you're either gambling or you've got. I mean, there's connections to both.
Somebody call Matthew Berry.
Gambling fantasy football.
Okay, so not just an analyst. You want Matthew Berry there, whoever the famous
Field Yates.
Field Yates.
Yeah, I would go gambling expert over fantasy guy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Definitely.
Live betting, stuff like that.
Definitely.
I mean, maybe that's where it's going because ESPN does have their own sports book. But okay, so I see a little synergy there, as they would say in the corporate world. I don't know. I think that Scott Hansen is the perfect host for this because he has a personality, he has a point of view, but he doesn't get in the way.
Definitely.
He's not doing gimmick really, He's just doing he's a presenter more than a host.
Yeah, and that's why I said color analyst. I don't want a guy giving me takes there.
Yeah.
Simply just tell me what's happening along with Scott telling me what's happening.
No Stephen.
Yeah,
Can't do Stephen A right there.
Yeah,
That's not a Stephen A
definitely
spot.
not. Do
It's not a Kendrick Perkins spot if they do this for the NBA.
Yeah, do the Charles
Stephen
Davis.
A. I hate to break it to you guys. He's going to be in there.
Oh, I think the number one place where Stephen A. will eventually shoehorn his way into is inside the NBA.
Oh.
He's gonna, guys. He's ending it. You got Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, and you have Shaq, and you're telling me Stephen A. can stay away?
That's the only way.
No shot.
That's the only way.
He could be in the White House. He will be on Inside the NBA, and he might be in the White House the way this is going.
Poor Ernie.
That would be the only way to make that show unwatchable. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I think is that if you add if you add that element, it just becomes too much. It's like having an ice cream sandwich and being like, you know what? We're just gonna put like whipped cream and chocolate syrup and everything. It becomes a sugar bomb. Now you don't know what you're eating. Now he's like, this doesn't taste like anything. Like if you add everything Stephen A. comes with what makes him great, combined with what everything that TNT does, that I think that would be. I don't think that would work.
But I think Turner would push back on that because they still own the show. They're still producing it. It's just airing on ESPN. So they'll be like, no, he's not one of our guys. We're not going to put him on.
We'll see.
I'm just,
we'll see. What did you think we were going to get Stephen A. on?
Well, yesterday he was talking about following Paul Heyman's footsteps and joining WWE now that they're on ESPN.
Oh, well, I'm surprised that hasn't happened already.
That makes a lot of sense to me. That
yeah.
I definitely could see. Stephen A. is a heel announcer or a heel something. Yeah.
Get Braun Breaker on line 1.
Guy's a trained actor.
Yeah, exactly. He loves wrestling.
You're starting rumors, Manny, on the show.
Oh. Sure, you had a nice little silencer on that thing.
It's such a crazy clip to watch him shoot
a nurse.
Well, the nurse was about to suffocate somebody with a pillow. I can't believe we know this.
In his acting voice, he puts that really smooth voice on when he's acting too. It's comedic.
You mentioned shooting somebody with a silencer is the coolest thing you could do on television or any film. It's up there.
Good night.
I'm not glorifying this in any way. We were talking about like it is one of the cooler James Bondy kind of things you can do is like the silencer, when you're taking out the bad guy.
You don't want to make an enemy out of me.
Manny's doing his own drops now.
Yeah.
Amazing. I've heard that speaking of silly spoofy stuff, that the Naked Gun is actually pretty good.
Oh, is that right?
I heard.
I feel like I was very confident. What's going on? I don't know. Liam, his whole energy about this is like perfect. It seems like he knows the assignment well. I was like, oh, if he's like this, then this is going to be good. What is the deal with him and Pamela Anderson?
I think they're dating.
They're being weird about it.
Why? Oh.
Like they're not.
They're open about it.
They don't confirm that they're an item. Like even in the last Today interview, because I'm watching this, I'm curious. I want to get a solid answer. And they're like, "Well, we just worked together.
Something TMZ.
We worked together, and we just realized that something's clicking here, and we're not putting labels on anything." I'm like,
the story lasts longer if you're ambiguous,
I'm like, is this a whole? I don't want this to be a bit. I hope it's
feel
not.
like it is.
It feels
the
that way.
The timing is very suspect. Movie drops, now we're dating, but we're being ambiguous and coy about it. I don't know.
I mean, is that bigger? That's a pretty big pull for Liam Neeson to pull Pam Anderson. I mean, I know she's like in her 50s, but still.
She's 16 years younger than him. Yeah, that's an amazing pull.
60?
16.
Oh, I thought you said 60.
You said 60.
No, 16.
It's like, is this a Belichick, Jordan Hudson
He's 71.
situation?
I think she's 55.
And he has not been in a relationship since Natasha Richardson died.
Yeah, she was gorgeous, obviously.
It is Liam Neeson, though. He could pull him, Yeah. Maybe Pamela's out kicking her coverage here.
Doubt it.
You're confident if you're Pamela Anderson. You're like, I'm going to show up similar to Alicia Keys. I'm never going to wear makeup ever again, and people will still put me on TV.
I know.
And still talk to me, and I'm still going to be able to pull one of the most famous actors of all time.
Do you understand what kind of a flex this is for a woman to show up with no makeup on and everyone's still like, you're Helen of Troy?
Hall of Fame flex.
Oh, my gosh.
Incredible Riz.
Unbelievable. Like, that's better than any of the Baywatch stuff. If we're talking about a flex, better than the red bathing suit. But maybe that's my perspective. Peter, thank you. Great job all morning. We still have tons to do. See you tomorrow. Ashton Jeanty with the Raiders. What is the latest coming out of camp for Las Vegas? And is it possible that this team is going to be much more of a factor than anyone had previously thought? Do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Countdown begins at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Andrew Bogus with the news. Top story of the day, and it's not what you'd expect. A WNBA game took quite the turn on the court. Direct fourth quarter action, tension in the air. Then a green object flew, causing quiet stare.
It was, let's call it an unlicensed personal item. Launched from the upper deck like a heat-seeking missile.
Bogus with the news, trying not to laugh. Reporting on a rubber toy that landed near the staff. He kept it clean, he kept it tight. But Maggie's face turned ghostly white and Perloff grinned from ear to ear.
Getting bounce. He asked, then spilled his beer.
Security sworn like it was Game 7. The item ejected.
4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff Show. EJ in for Perloff today. All right, we got to get to some news that's breaking right now. It's not exactly breaking news, but this is the first that we're hearing of it. And that is, according to Texas Monthly, they've done an interview with Archie Manning, the patriarch of the Manning family. And according to the internet, Archie Manning said, when asked when his grandson Arch Manning if he will declare for the 2026 NFL draft, said Arch isn't going to do that. He'll be at Texas. So the idea that Arch Manning is not declaring for the draft this year. No matter what happens at Texas, he's going back for a senior season. EJ, it falls in line with Eli and with Peyton, so I understand it. But I think I'm not saying it's a mistake, but I would leave myself a little bit more wiggle room if I were the Mannings here. Number one, if he is the no doubt number one overall pick, right, which they weren't sure about Peyton Manning when he was coming out of Tennessee. The story is that Bill Parcells, who was the coach of the Jets at the time, and was running the team, that he would not commit to the Mannings that they were going to make Peyton number one overall. So he got a little cold feet, decided to go back to college. That's at least one story. With Eli, they didn't really need him to be the no doubt number one overall pick because they were trying to shoehorn him to the place they wanted him to go. And it was all much more calculated. But if Arch has a season where he is that number one overall pick, I think you've got to go. And the thing is with the Mannings, you don't have to go to Cleveland if it's Cleveland. You don't have to go to New Orleans if it's New Orleans. We've seen them pull the power play before. You can go to almost, I think, whatever situation you may want to go to.
That's true. And listen, I am one of those folks that's like, listen, the money's there. Go get the money. You're crazy. Regardless of the success rate of guys who only start 1 year, you got to get that money. But I do think if you're, the nephews of Eli and Peyton and you're from the Manning family, money is not really as much a thing. And I think you look at the success rate of quarterbacks and the guys that do well, it is not the guys that only started 1 year. In fact, when you look at a lot of these busts, oftentimes it's guys that have started 1 year or maybe had 1 year of real production, and we kind of overrate that, and those guys become the bust. So I think the Mannings can look at this more scientifically than maybe your average rookie quarterback or college quarterback. They can look at this and say, okay, what do the metrics say? What is the recent history? What is our family history? What has that shown us? It shows you that you got to start for more than 1 year in order to be a really successful NFL quarterback. So I get it from that standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, for every, 4-year starter in the NFL, I can give you Joe Burrow. I can give you Cam Newton. I can give you guys who did not get tons and tons of college reps.
But Joe Burrow started for 2 years. Even though he wasn't as good his first year, he at least got those games. Now Cam didn't.
Yeah.
Cam was just a 1 year guy.
I mean,
and he was phenomenal.
I think it has so much more to do with the situation you go to in the NFL than how many reps you had in college.
That's
to
fair.
me, that's what the NFL comes down to. And for the Mannings, they've got that. Like, they're the ones who have successfully manipulated this process before. And so I don't know if you can, I don't think you can go to the Chiefs or you can't go to a team that's picking 30, 31, even in the 20s. But if it's a top 5 situation and there is a really good team that somehow felt like, let's just say the Rams, let's say Matthew Stafford's back gives out in week 1, and let's say Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt in week 2, and all of a sudden the season just goes off the rails and they're a 6-win team or a 5-win team. And they're picking in the top 7. To me, that the Mannings can do that. I think they can manipulate to get Arch where they want him to go, and it's more about who do you land with in the NFL than what your foundation was in college.
I also think that Archie making these comments and all the whispers we heard about the fact that Arch Manning likely would do more than 1 year as a starting quarterback at Texas, it raises me the question of maybe they know he's not like that. We just keep penciling him in as the number 1 overall pick, and we've seen very little. We saw a great performance against Louisiana Monroe and Mississippi State. There's just not maybe not the Little Sisters of the Poor, but not
Georgia,
not Alabama, not these top teams. In fact, when he got in, I know it was relief, and you got to give him a break, but he gets in relief against Georgia, and he looks like he's a deer in headlights. This is his first year starting as a college football quarterback. He's got a lot of weapons. He's playing for an exceptional offensive head coach, but it is still his first go-around. He may not look like the obvious number 1 pick, and they may know that. They may say, hey, listen, he's going to have a good year. Texas should be good, but maybe he's not ready to be the number 1 pick, so why are we going to keep putting this out there like we're expecting? Just like Dion kept saying that, my son is definitely going to be a top 3 pick, when we now know that was never going to be in the cards.
So the one thing, that's fair, but the one thing that I wonder if they're trying to say this to try to tamp down any of the expectations or whatever. And I know the Mannings have to understand this. nothing's going to tamp down the expectations.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not going to be whether he comes out into the NFL draft this year, whether he comes back to college for next year. Like, Johnny Manziel had a lot of things wrong with his personal life. His head was not on his shoulders. But when he talks about what it was like to go back to Texas A&M after he had the Johnny football year and how much of a fishbowl he was in and how difficult that part was, like there could be a relief of going to the NFL and maybe getting to a bigger city or something like that. Not that Austin isn't amazing, and just sort of blending in just a tiny bit more than staying back in college and having all eyes on you. Anyway, that's where we got to leave it. Manny Rodriguez, great job in the big chair. Thank you so much, Ray Jarvis. EJ, of course, phenomenal, but we knew that. Thank you to Peter Schwartz, the Weedos, the Coffee Drinkers, and Andrew Kaplan.
You're in a 5-minute break.